Peace to the gods and goddesses. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to another live interview on Cosmic Konnectionz. Today we have a phenomenal guest with us, and she goes by KaMaat. I'm super excited because you literally are the definition of divine flow, and I will keep saying that, and it's just a beautiful thing that you're here, and we're so thankful to have you. Let's go ahead and get on into it. Thank you guys for tapping in, watching the live. Let's go ahead and start off with just you telling our viewers who you are and a little bit about your journey.
So you want me to tell them about me? Okay. All right. Well, I am the mother of ceremony, mother of community, matriarch of community. Many refer to me as priestess, healer, chiefess. I received a lot of these titles as well as the oracle just from the work that has been done and the work that has been performed through the evidence of so many things manifested, whether that be through wisdom, whether that be through energy, just through so many different things. And so I have Sankofa House Savannah. We're coming up on 7 years of service to community. So that'll be 7 years on May 1st. We'll have our anniversary for 7 years. And so just been serving community through Sankofa House Savannah for 7 years. And sisterhood for almost 11 years in November. So I'm just a vessel for the community, vessel for sisterhood, vessel for healing, vessel for transmutation, transformation, like you name it. That's what I do. That's who I am. So if there's any questions, I can definitely answer those questions.
Awesome. 7 years. That's awesome. That's an amazing accomplishment. And I want to know more about what made you start Sankofa House of Savannah.
Okay, so this backtracks to hosting women for study. Originally, we were doing study groups for, reading scriptures, coming together to pray together. And so initially I was hosting space for sisters like on Tuesdays and Sundays. And so again, that'll be coming up on 11 years. So prior to Sankofa House, I would host in my own home, and I saw the need to expand. And so that's when I seeked out to have a space that we could, have for us to come together for healing, for ceremony, for us to just do us. That's really what it was about, us having a space that we needed for us to do what we needed to for us. So that's what got me into having Sankofa House. I saw a need. I was already operating in the need, but we needed to expand the need for a safe space, a headquarters for people to come into. So I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I knew what was needed, and we just kind of floated out, and it just happened. It just manifested into something that was bigger than what I could have even imagined or envisioned.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess you said that you started firstly kind of studying scripture, I'm assuming, right? So what made that transition exactly? What caused that transition for you?
Growth. Just growth and elevation. And for me, my journey has been all about not living according to a box, not according to a religion, even if I found myself in a space where I may have been practicing a little heavier in a religion. For me, things felt more naturally just to flow. So that's what I did. And I just always honored what I felt I was being led to do. So even though I may have like left the church in a sense, I still hold the scriptures because that was a blueprint for me. Like I love the scriptures as well. I'm just not a slave to, you know, certain things, but I do utilize it as a tool for wisdom and guidance and foundation as well. So originally starting there with the scriptures, reading, studying, interpreting the Bible with my sisters, expanded, elevated, went into Islam. That's where my name Kamilah came from. And then from there, just kept growing. Like I just allowed the journey to just take me, not keep me, you know, in a certain place. And so regardless of where the journey took me, I just allowed myself to just be free in my own flow with my journey. And in doing so, it inspired so many other people, like what you on, what you studying, what you into. And, you know, I can introduce them to where I'm at, but I was always the person to never tell people where they should go or who they should be, or, you know, I just basically would give people the tools that I've acquired. And if it works for them, it works for them. If it doesn't, then, you know, they can leave it where it's at, you know. So for me, that's kind of like how I just moved about.
Understood. Awesome. I know that all of us had to, all three of us has had to make that transition from, you know, more religious to more spiritual space. And I know for me, it was suddenly. So how did you start your spiritual journey exactly? How did that come about?
Say that again, because I didn't hear you.
How did your spiritual journey itself start?
Okay, so I can't ever tell this story without going back to being a 13-year-old little girl. At 13, and I always tell this story because it's a part of my testimony to my journey. My journey started before I even knew that it started. And I wasn't even reminded that it started at 13. And it started before then, because the journey starts when you're born. The journey starts when you're being fashioned in your mother's womb. So we can just get that straight. But the point of realization for me, when I went back and I looked at when I made a covenant with God, I knew that that was my vocal point of contract of me beginning my journey at 13. And at that time at 13, I was in a place of suicide. I was being sexually molested by my father. I was emotionally tired. And so the only thing that I knew to do was pray. So there was times where I'm like, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't have anybody that can save me. I don't have anybody that can help me. I'm not even telling anybody what's going on with me other than one person. And so one day I just got so tired and I was like, either he got to go or I got to go. And I just started crying and praying. And I remember this word from my spiritual father, Elder Verdi Banner. And he talked about making a covenant with God. And when you make a covenant with God, you can't go back on that covenant. And so I remembered that sermon, something in my spirit brought that back to me, and that became my remedy. And I say the prayer and I say, God, I give my life to you if you take me out of this situation. And I just cried. And a couple of days later, I was called to the counselor's office, and the police was in the counselor's office, and there's people in here who's foreign to me that I don't know, and they're asking me questions about what's happening at home. I immediately am afraid. I'm crying. I'm scared. And I answer their questions, and then they end up taking me into a children's home. And then further on, I had to go through the court system and all of that. But the whole point of it is that my covenant was made and my prayer was answered. So that was a very bookmark moment of my life that I can never forget. So when I say when it started, where I know that it started, when I said so, when I can look back and I can see a bookmark for where I spoke words for myself and where God showed up for me and what I said was God, that's when it happened. And 10 years later, which is a full circle, I got the knock on my door that it was time for me to get my life right. It was time for me to, you know, come back to God, basically. And that was when I was 23. So that was 10 years to 13, right? So it was a full circle. And the warnings came in at that time at 23 to get my life right, that I was going down a path of destruction, and that I was going to lose everything that I love. And of course, I'm hearing it and I'm not heeding it, right? Sometimes we hear, but we don't heed, right? And so I had a couple of things that started to happen, and I was like, okay, I'm going to honor what I'm hearing, because I don't want all kind of other things to start happening in my life. And so that's when I began to take the journey in my own hands. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just do what I know to do. I'm going to go back to church. I'm going to give my life to God. I'm going to read the Bible. I'm going to go to church whenever the doors are open. I'm going to be at Sunday school. I'm going to be at Bible study. And that's how it started for me. And so, you know, when you, and I grew up in a holiness church. So everything about the holiness church is just high spirited. Like everything is just high spirited. And so I found myself always going to the prayer line because I wanted to feel the spirit. I had never at that point spoken tongues. I had never at that point shouted. And I'm like, okay, well, what's wrong with me? I'm doing everything that I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. I'm praying. I'm in my prayer closet. I'm at the church. I done changed my ways. I'm out the clubs. I feel like I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. And so I found myself in the prayer line every time that it was available because I wanted to feel the spirit. And so in the prayer line, in the prayer line, and I never felt what I thought that I would experience. And so, you know, again, I'm questioning what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
What am I not doing? And there was one day I was about to go up, and the same voice that told me I was going down a path of destruction began to speak to me. And I heard, don't let nobody touch you. You can pray for yourself. And I just sat back because I'm like, wait a minute now, you know? And so my mom, she's like, you going up? And I'm like, no, ma'am. Because I would always go with my mom. I'm like, no, ma'am. And she's like, you all right? I'm like, yes, ma'am. And then I just continue to listen because now at this point, I'm not just hearing, I'm heeding, I'm listening. And so, and listening, I just keep listening and I'm being told, look at what's going on. Like, this is a program. You do the same thing every week. And I just sat and I looked and I'm like, yeah, we got the devotional service. We got the prayer line. We got the altar call. We got, you know, the funds being raised. We got the sermon at the end. Like, it's a program. And I was like, yeah. But I didn't know where spirit was getting to. And so then I was told I had to go it alone. And I did not know what that meant. And so I was told, keep doing what you're doing, but do it alone. And so I heeded it because the same thing that took me there brought me out. Right. And I realized that this is all a matter of obedience because your relationship with God or with spirit or whatever it is that you want to term it don't have nothing to do with a place, and it doesn't have anything to do with people, and it doesn't have anything to do with what is said to be tradition. When you have a relationship, you have it one-on-one, right? And so my obedience was being tested. And so it was so clear that I could not deny it. It was so clear that I could not ignore it. So I left the church, right? Well, I left the physical church, I should say that. I left the physical church. And I began to just read at home. I began to inquire through spirit, and the things that I would ask, it would be revealed to me. Everything that I wanted to know would be revealed to me. And this is not even to touch on the fact that I've always been gifted. I've always had the ability to see things while they're happening, when they're not being revealed, or before they happen. You know, and this could be within a couple of days. This could be within, you know, a couple of weeks, couple of months, or even up to 3 years. That's as far as it usually reaches. And so now I'm in my prayer closet and I'm just asking to be used. You know, I'm calling in my voice. I'm calling in my power. I'm calling in my ministry. I'm calling for my voice to be bold and courageous. I'm calling in to speak because there was a time I couldn't speak. Like, I would talk, I would say things, but I wasn't speaking. There was no power that was coming from my voice. And so over time, it began to manifest, you know. And so in the midst of doing that, and just sharing all of my own interpretations as I continue to read the Bible and decode certain things, I attracted a lot of sisters who was interested in what it was that I was studying. And so from there is how we started doing the study group. So you know how like nowadays everybody put out posts for sister circles and inviting people. That is not how I was initiated. Like, that's not how it was done for me. For me, it was very organic. It was very, again, me just honoring what was naturally happening. So it was just very organic how it manifested. And, you know, and so with the sisters who was interested, I was like, okay, well, I had this sister reach out to me. I had this sister reach out to me. So we can just all come together and just study together. And so that's how it happened. And then so it manifested from those Tuesday night, you know, circles studying with each other to now, you know, fast forward 11 years. Now I'm hosting circles virtually on Tuesday nights, every Tuesday nights, and then again on Sundays, still 11 years fast forward. So Sister Sundays is every first Sunday, which it didn't always have like a schedule, but now it does. But that's how it happened. It was organic, it was obedient, it was trust, it was flow. Yeah, it was spirit. It was destiny, you know. So that's how it happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, it's extremely powerful, because I think, for one, that your awareness of your entire journey is a beautiful thing. And I think sometimes along our journey, we kind of forget what we went through, or the nudges that we received along the way. And I mean, would you say that like you were always this aware of your journey, or did you have to do some inner work in order to kind of bring about certain experiences that you had, or certain nudges that you had? Or were you kind of like just, maybe you just got to one point and you look back and like just put all the pieces together? Or did you have to retrieve some of those memories?
Well, I appreciate the way that you asked that question, because the first thing that comes to mind is the mission that I'm on, the assignment that I'm on, which is Sankofa. So I could not go forward until I look back so many times. And every time I look back, I saw something different. I saw something deeper. I saw something more expanded. I saw something, you know, it just got clearer and clearer the more I look back. You know, like I can look back 100 times, but it's not until I look back that 100 times that I reach a freedom in a space that I look back at. You know, the first 99 times I didn't get the same feeling. I didn't have the same experience inside of myself. I didn't come to the same perspective, or I didn't come to the same outcome. So every time I look back, it shifted. And every time I look back and it shifted, then I shifted.
Yes.
You know, so this is what it was. It was just literally every time I look back, I remembered more and more and more. So the awareness grew. The awareness grew over time. But what I can tell you is that it was just trust the flow, like trust the journey, trust the unfolding. But it's been a lot of healing as I look back. Every time I look back, something was transmuted, transformed, healed. And that's why I'm able to help people now, because of what I've been able to do for myself. So I'm like, you know, I make it real simple for people. It was not that simple for me. You know what I mean? Like I had to go back at a time so you can just go forward. You know, you could just go forward, you know.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of looking back. There was a lot of healing. There was a lot of recovering. There was a lot of, you know, there was a lot of tears. There was a lot of uncomfortableness. It was a lot, but it was worth it. You know, like I was the type, like, once I realized how imperative healing was, I took on the assignment. I didn't run from it. Like anytime I had to look back and feel what I didn't want to feel, I went for it anyway, because I already was experiencing stuff that I didn't want to experience. I got through that. So let me initiate myself and go into the depths of myself, you know, which I feel is like an aspect of like my Scorpio rising. I'm all for the depths. I'm all for going deep. I'm all for going into the unseen. And it's not about being comfortable. So for me, I took on the task that this was not going to be a comfortable journey. It wasn't comfortable from the beginning. So I didn't expect that. So I'm the one I'm going to take the challenge.
Yes.
I'm gonna take the challenge. Like I'm like, no, challenge me. Like I'm gonna take the challenge. Like I want to be challenged, because I see how beneficial it's been for me, for my strength, for my growth, for my elevation, for everything. So yes, I had to do a lot of work, a lot of shadow work, a lot of uncomfortable work, a lot of looking at myself work, a lot of forgiving others work, a lot of forgiving myself work. It's been a lot of work, but it's been beautiful.
Yes.
You know, because now I've shifted the narrative that all of it has been designed for my advantage, like all of it. All of it. You know, in the beginning, when I was younger and things was happening, pieces might have been being moved for me. But now I'm running the board now. I say what's happening. I say what it's going to feel like. I say what it's going to look like. Regardless of if I can't control how it's going to happen, I can control how it's going to happen in the experience of how I experienced it. So, you know, but yeah, I did a lot of looking back. I'm going to continue to do a lot of looking back. You know, like it don't bother me.
Absolutely. I love the way that, you know, your level of awareness is beautiful, you know, and I love that the way that you put it as well, because, you know, as we all know, is that on this journey, it's not a straight up journey, that it's a spiral.
It's a spiral.
You're constantly being brought back to the same, like to the same situation, but looking at it from higher perspectives. So just to hear you say that, every time you went back, there was basically something new that you learned, something deeper, a deeper truth that you became more aware of, or that was revealed to you through the work. But this is shadow work. This, and that's, the way that you explained it is completely beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Like I look at it now, it's like I was sharing with my sisters on Sunday, or maybe whenever it was, but I have a lot of conversations, so a lot of times I can't remember. But I was talking about how, we always reference life to like, walking in a tunnel, right? Yeah. Walking in a tunnel of darkness or whatever. And I'm like, I willingly go back into the darkness. Yes. I feel like I've reached a place where I'm on the other side of this tunnel and it's so much light over there that I willingly go back into the darkness. And because I that's where everything happens.
Yes.
And that's where I get to meet a lot of my sisters, a lot of my brothers. That's where I get to meet a lot of people. Like I willingly go into the darkness. I'm not afraid of it. Like, I'm like, when I look back and I see that my journey started out dark, mm-hmm. and all that I've been able to overcome, all that I've been able to walk through, all that I've been able to handle, like, I'm like, nothing can stop me.
Exactly.
Like, I wasn't designed to be stopped. If that was the case, I wouldn't be able to move. I wouldn't walk. You know what I mean? So nothing can stop me. So yeah, I willingly go into the darkness because that's where I bring more light for myself. Yes. I learn more in that space for myself. And also I can reveal things for others. So a lot of times people are like, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know? Because I've been all up and through there. I know what it looked like. I know what it feel like. I know where you at. You don't have to tell me. You could just say the word and I already know. I can tell you because I've been there. I know,
Absolutely. And would you be able to elaborate a little more on the part to where you said that you couldn't move forward until you went back? I would love, because I think that sometimes we find ourselves in these stagnant positions, or we feel that way, or that's the perception or whatever. But the spirit is really having us go back or slow down and to really pay attention on, or what I'm saying, just become more aware of certain things that we might have missed. So I know that there's certain moments to where spirit will put a halt on your journey until you go back and really analyze whatever is being presented to you. So I would love to hear your perspective, or for you to elaborate more on what you meant by that.
There's so many, like when I'm listening, I kind of hear so many things, and then I, see where I'm going to gather. But it's like this, right? It's like being in school, right? And you go through all of these months, weeks of assignments, right? Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the term, now it's time to prove yourself. Right?
Yeah.
So when I've reached a certain place, sometimes we feel like we just going to keep going forward. No, you're going to go back so you can apply what you learned. So have you really learned it? If you really learned it, then you should have something to show for it. You know what I mean? And so I couldn't go forward. I didn't need to go forward because I was already forward. I was forward in myself. So I go back and apply it. Then I can build internally. I can build even more inside of myself.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I haven't been a lot of places physically. I haven't done a lot of things physically. That's new to my reality now. But as far as like the inside of here, go back and apply. Right? Yeah. So we talk about shadow work. That's when you go back and you apply. You look at the most uncomfortable parts. You look at the darkest parts. You look at the parts that hurt the work. You look at all of it. You allow yourself to feel it. And then you go take all the tools that you've gathered to that forward part of yourself and you bring it back and you apply it and you build the bricks in those places. Right? You build a house in those places. You go decorate in those places. You don't leave an empty house once you done cleaned it up. You go decorate it. So when you go back, I'm going back to decorate. I done cleaned it out. I done decluttered. I done cleared the corners. I'm going back in and I'm going to put in what I want to be there. Now I'm going to take out what I don't want to be there anymore. So I had to stop. I had to go back because I really feel like we talk about going forward, but where are we going forward into?
Yeah.
To me, that's not my reality.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not to say like somebody's wrong for looking at their life that way, because we can look at it however we want to. But I know for me, I'm like, going forward in what? Going forward in what? No, I'm right here. I'm present.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I'm willing to go back.
Yes.
right? I'm willing to go back. Like I know that I volunteered to go back. I know that that's not an assignment for everybody. Everybody want to go forward and forget.
Yes.
Once you remember, it becomes a responsibility to return, you know, and that's what it's all about. Like, but when I go, I'm out of here. Like, my work is done.
Yes.
And I ain't leave nobody behind that, you know, that didn't want to be left behind, you know? So, yeah. Oh, I couldn't go forward because I had to go back. The assignment was to go back.
Man. Oh my God.
And bring back, which is why it's Sankofa. Like, even before I knew what Sankofa was, like, I had it tattooed on my ankle. You know, I'm channeling the symbol of it. And I knew it was an assignment of the ancestors. I knew that before I knew what it was. Like, it's just the way that I've been introduced to symbols and signs and prophecy has been literally through experience. It hasn't come through text. It hasn't come through readings. It hasn't come through other oracles. It hasn't come through that. It's come through my actual experience. And so with Sankofa, that was the assignment of the ancestors. And so that got go back all over it. And so for me, with the work that I do, we go back. Like, any sisters that's connected to me, that works with me, they know we go forward. What we doing over there?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing to do over there.
Yes. I hear you. That's the point of it all. You know, we all have to go back. That's the only way for all the collective to evolve.
I feel like that's where we really truly get to experience another level of life within ourselves, within our own personal self. Like, you can invite other people, but nobody can experience what you experience inside of you. The work that you've done inside of you, they might get to experience it from the outside through the evidence, through how good it feels and how your energy feels and how attractive you are energetically. But they don't know how good it feels inside of you. But you can show them how to get there too. You know what I mean? Like, because a lot of people think it's foreign, and it's not. It's just that, again, we don't remember it. Yes, heaven on earth says heaven on earth. That's it.
Yeah. For me, I think once you stop really focusing on the forward, you say forward, going where, doing what are we doing forward? Because there's only ever now. There's never really, you only got this moment right here, right? And so taking your attention off of the forward and only focusing on what do I need now, kind of by going back. Because what I need now, right? That question, asking yourself that question will tell you where you got to go to. Paying attention to what's happening in your environment, seeing where you taking that class again, meaning it's coming back again for you. You ain't make the right choices last time, so but let's see if you make it this time. Pass the course. But you're right in that just because you supposedly passed the course, meaning you got that doesn't mean it ain't gonna come back. It has to. It has to come back again. Application, like you said. So it's beautiful. But a lot of us, we spend so much time worried about forward. I gotta do. This is like it's
really, you just like running from yourself and you don't even know it. And you're not present and you're not at ease. Like, that just kind of feels like escapist, survivalist. That doesn't say balance. That doesn't say ease. That doesn't say calm. That doesn't say peace. That doesn't say presence. It doesn't say harmony, you know, because people who are here with themselves, we ain't talking like that.
Yeah.
We don't talk like that. So a lot of that is a whole foreign conversation to who we truly are. Like, a lot of these narratives that we picked up and these ideas, you know, that seem to motivate us to be more and do more came from a society that doesn't resonate to who we truly are and what we truly came here to do anyway. So, like, that's why we have to pause. That's why we got to, you know, we got to come back to self, you know, because we realize that we're actually operating outside of what we truly are. We're actually, you know, operating from conditioning and programming and all of these other things. And so, you know, when you go back, then you have the opportunity to discard the parts of you that is not you, you know, or not you anymore, because they have been you in that part, in that time where it was you, it served. And so the whole point of the awareness is to realize when something has served and when it's okay to let it go, you know, and that comes in so many, in so many ways, like whether that be, you know, a belief system or something that you used to love to do or something you was really good at, but you just don't have a thing for it anymore. So it's like, if it doesn't resonate with you anymore, why are you still trying to hold on to it?
Yeah.
Why are you trying to force it into your life if it's not flowing into your life? So, you know, it's that same thing. So forward
Yes,
for what?
yes. In full agreement. What doesn't serve you no longer. A lot of us find ourselves holding on, like you said, to things that we should have long let go of because of comfortability, familiar. I cannot say this word. Familiar. You know, and it's like it's that comfort, right? It's what you've known, and that unknown can be very scary, but there's so much benefit in just doing what's right for you, doing what feels right. I'm so much in the, does it feel right? If it don't feel right, we got to stop, take a pause, assess the situation, right? And this year, one of the things that I have been asking myself a lot is, what would someone who loves themselves do? And I've been preaching this to everybody, you know what I mean? And all the things that you're saying kind of fits into that. What would someone who loves themselves do? If I love myself, am I gonna run from the work? No, because the work is only beneficial, and it all works. You're good, and I love what you're doing. I love the message that you're spreading. I would love to get further deeper into what services, I guess. I know you said you have the Sunday service, right? And then you have one that's monthly. Can we go into that one?
Okay, so we have the in-person circle, which is called Soul Sister Sundays. That's where we come together every first Sunday of the month here. I still say Savannah because it's still Savannah, but it's really but Savannah. We come together first Sunday here in our temple, and on Tuesdays weekly we get together virtually as a collective, sisters collective, and we have themes every month. It just depends on what comes through, what's channeled, what resonates. And so this month is about embracing the overflow, and so every month is, you know, it's powerful spiritual development. It's a lot of healing. Like, there are things that get moved out on the first call, you know. So for the rest of the month, sisters is just twirling in the bliss, you know, because everything is getting knocked out, you know, everything is getting, you know, just transmuted immediately, you know. So we do that every Tuesday. And so those are my group settings. I also offer group settings for those who would like to put their own collectives together. We have retreats sometimes that feature, you know, different modalities, water cleansing ceremonies, which I haven't done in a while, and I'm about to circle that back this year. I used to do that every year. That was an assignment from my ancestors, to gather the women at the water for cleansing and healing, to move whatever weight, baggage, traumas. You know, it's just for us to address things. We address it and we leave it behind. You know, like that's pretty what it's all about, is unpacking the weight and liberating the heart, bringing it back to a light balance. I offer one-on-one. So I do virtual life coaching, conversations with Kamilah, where we can talk about anything, like how we're doing right now. There's no script. We can talk about whatever, you know, wants to be talked about, ask any questions. I offer, you know, couples sessions. I offer Reiki, Kemetic Reiki, womb Reiki, oracle sessions, which is basically a conversation. I don't really even care to utilize any divination tool, because I can get straight to some things that need to be got to just by being in the presence of spirit and just honoring the vessel that's present with me, telling them what needs to be said. Like, a lot of times people, you know, want readings and they want to hear about all this other stuff, but for me, I want to talk about you. I don't want to talk about money. I don't want to talk about that stuff. I want to talk about you. So that's how my sessions go, is bringing you where you need to be in yourself, bringing you the confirmation that you need, the reminders that you need, and also the energy. You know, the energy that is present may be ancestral. You know, it may even be beyond this planet, because it's a whole lot of light that comes through. It's very universal love, power, energy that can penetrate anything, can move anything, can move the brick walls that people have built around their hearts, around their mind. And so, yeah, and now with my sisters, we have erected a ministry. So now it's not just me that's doing the work. I got sisters who have been present with me for years now, who have committed to stepping up and laying their hands and being of service to the sisters. And so that is our Mother's Army ministry. And so many sisters is a part of that. Right now we have a inside core of about 19 sisters, and that is also expanding out into ambassadorships, those who see the vision of what it is that we're doing. And I mean, it's already worldwide. It is already worldwide, but now it's going to be physically worldwide instead of just on social media. So we realize the work that needs to be done, and it's not just here in Savannah. So we've been invited to so many places, and we gonna do the work that we've been called to do. You know, we're gonna do what is not being done, because I noticed that what we're doing is very different from what a lot of people are doing. We're not putting people into a box. We're here to bring freedom on so many levels. That's what we're doing. So
awesome.
You.
I did want to kind of change gears, if that's okay. I feel like, and I just felt called to talk about this. This is not planned at all, but I feel like the spiritual community kind of is in a confused state this week. We had something happen within our community with a sister, and with some psychosis, I'm assuming, and it led to some tragedies. And I wanted to get into, I guess, how can we, while we're in this space, while we're learning, while we're growing, really figure out how to use, I guess, discernment, or I don't know how to go because I don't know the full story. I just know that it's really rough right now within the spiritual community, and I feel called to talk about it now. I was not planning on it, but it came into my spirit.
I mean, it's a major topic right now, and it has a lot of people's attention, and a lot of people are, you know, hanging from the hashtag of an astrologer. But this was a woman, this was a mother, this was a partner. So beyond even what she did and what she studied and, you know, what she revealed to her on her platforms, you know, this was a soul that was in a very dark place within herself. You know what I mean? And as you know, you can say, we can call it anything. We could call it psychosis if we want to, but there was a sense of darkness that was there, and she was not present in her own light. And so, you know, regardless of, and so that's why I don't even get into all of that. Like, I love some of the symbology when it comes to astrology, but I've never gotten it. It never became my religion. So, you know, and that's just really it. So I'll be like, yeah, that's enough, you know, but kudos to people who can do that, and that's their thing. But I just could never get into all of that. But my thing is that whatever you're doing, whatever you're practicing, if it's not bringing you into the light of yourself, if it's not bringing you into love, and it's creating confusion, and it's creating chaos within yourself, and it's creating a battle, then you have to shift gears. You have to take a pause. You have to slow down. You have to come back to yourself, because you can lose yourself. You can lose yourself in information, which is why even with my sisters, I was telling them, I'm like, you know, it's all well and good, you know, that we listen to people, and, you know, they speaking some real good stuff, and, you know, it get to stimulating you and everything, but you got to pull back. Yes. And you need the source for yourself. Yes. You need to listen for and within yourself. You need to listen. And so I feel like a lot of times we get all wrapped up and we lose ourselves to things. We lose ourselves to anything. And so that's what that situation feels like she just lost herself. You know what I mean? She lost herself. And I've seen that before, not to the extreme of what happened in this situation, but it's so easy to lose yourself when you're not sure of who you are. You know, so you can be popular, you can be a big influencer, you can have 1 billion followers, but that does not prove anything to the worth of who it is that you have decided that you are within yourself, who you've aligned with inside of yourself. Like the most peaceful person in the world is probably not even on social media. You know what I mean? And so the thing that we get caught up in this stuff.
We do
get caught up in this stuff. And so, and then another thing that I always remind my sisters of is, whatever you entertain enters you. Whatever you entertain enters you. And she was entertaining a lot of energy around this eclipse. And then the energy was very heavy, you know, with with the thoughts and what it is that how she was perceiving it, and and putting it out there. That means whatever she is entertaining within herself can now become a weight to her own person. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And while I read some of the warnings that she did put out, those warnings were very heavy. So she had to receive those things for herself. And what it looks like is like what she was warning others of, it was actually a warning to herself. So sometimes we have to heed the messages that we give. Because sometimes you may think the message that you're giving to other people is for other people because you're an influencer, but it's really for you. One of my sisters, EYEZ, she was talking about, when you get information and you get this knowledge and you get this stuff, integrate it for yourself first before you sharing it with other people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because you have to be very mindful. You have to be very mindful. And what we share as people who do influence people, we're responsible for the messages that we share.
Yeah.
We're responsible for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have to be very careful. So sometimes we want to be so seen. But you got to be mindful of how you want to be seen, and we want to be so heard. But you have to be mindful of how you want to be heard, because this is a very dark playground when it comes to social media. It's a very dark playground, so we have to be very careful. So the discernment part is making sure that you know what's true within yourself.
Yeah. You know,
here doing anything like that's just like people. Everybody want to be a healer. Everybody want to lay hands, but you don't realize the level of exchange that happens when you touch people, when you're connected with people on a spiritual level. Whatever things you might be helping them get off of them might come for you too. You see what I'm saying? So we have to be so mindful, of what we claim to be and what we claim to do. Like, we got to be sure. You know what I mean? It's a very dangerous territory.
It is. Energy transfer is very real. And, for us healers or influencers or, us practitioners who are intertwining with other people's energies a lot, our initiation is through our own darkness and the integration of those things that we went through, so that we're able to sustain those other people's darknesses, if you know what I'm saying, or their darker energy. And we have to basically, if you're not in the space to where you've integrated enough of your shadow and you're going into a healing session to heal someone else, and their darkness overpowers the level of your integration, you can get pulled in or absorbed in that darkness. So you have to really be grounded within your own energy. Especially, even as influencers, even though the internet is a beautiful way to communicate, to reach a whole lot of people, it does not take away from its toxicity. Even, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have that time for self. You have to have time with spirit. You can't be I just personally don't feel like you should be. I mean, everybody's going to do what they want to do, but I personally don't feel like you should be consistently all day, every day on social media, putting out your energy consistently. You're going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're leaking your energy.
Yeah.
And that's why people got to be and see, that's the thing. People want to be fed energetically by being on social media. They want to be validated in some sense, like I said, want to be seen, want to be heard. And that even goes to show that there is still a lot of wounds and trauma that is there, because you're operating from desperation, and you title it as productivity, but it's really, desperation. And what can that energy attract? What good can that energy attract to you? So when we're doing anything, we have to be, before I post anything, regardless of whatever it is, what it looked like, I am super intentional about what it is that I post and the energy that I'm in.
Yes.
When I post it. So regardless of whatever it does on social media, that is not my concern. I do not care what happens after that. It is done. I am not attached to what I'm putting out there. Once I feel clearance to share something, I'm just going to share it. Or if it's just on the height of my spirit or whatever, I'm just going to do it, but I'm not going to do it with an attachment to how many people going to like it, how many people going to share, how many people going to this, how many people going to that. because now you done got caught up. You doing it for the wrong reasons. It's not about that.
Got caught up, and now you're in the wrong direction. That's a road to destruction.
Yes. Yeah. And like a lot of times, like I've even told some of my people, I'm like, if it wasn't for the people, I would not be on social media. You know what I mean? So that's why when we're using it, utilize it as a business. You know what I mean? As a bridge, which is the business. If your work is service to the people, you know what I mean? So like a lot of times, even with my sisters, even though I have a ministry of sisters, you know, they know that I'm the face. They know that people want to see me, they want to hear me, they want to watch me or whatever. But I put something up anytime I'm on there. Like a lot of times, like it took me a while to even post videos. And then I realized the reason why I had to start posting videos so people could actually see me in action right before all of these fake pages started popping up. So it's like now they can see who was the real person rather than it just being photos of the work being done. And so, you know, all of that was spirit led as well. But it's just like, you know, even some of the work that I did put out was being attacked. So even as beautiful and as powerful and as loving as his work is, it was still being attacked, you know. And so the thing is that all of that comes with the territory.
Yes.
All of that comes with the territory. And so for me, I don't feel no type of way when certain things that is good get some kind of evil remark or negative remark or whatever, because it just lets me know how much more healing people need. You know what I mean? And if something so beautiful and healing triggers you, then that's just evidence that you need some healing. And let me give you a session. Let's have a conversation. Like what's really what's really going on, you know, but we got to be real careful with social media. And so we cannot get caught up. We cannot lose ourselves because you're a real person. So make sure you're investing more into the real person rather than the person that you are on social media, you know. So sometimes I say like a lot of people don't really even get to really truly experience me on social media. You know what I mean? They experience a version of what I give them, but it's real over here. But everybody is not going to be privy to that access. You know what I mean? They're just not, you know. So the most sacred parts of me, the most gifted parts of me, I do not share.
Yes.
I do not share that on social media. You're going to get that in person. You're going to get that on virtual. You're going to get that in one-on-one sessions. I'm not giving that to social media. You want to see more? Come see more. And that is not even an invitation for everybody because I can't work with everybody. And if I don't have clearance and you go action, I'm going to send your money back because I'm going to ask my people. I'm going to fill you out. I might even tell you, okay, we got to have a virtual one-on-one before you come here. Or I'll only have clearance to offer virtual to you because sometimes people just want access to your energy. And if I feel that at any time, you're not going to have it. Yes. You know, I've had people feel some type of way about that. But the thing is that this is not about money. You know what I mean? This is my divine energy. And so I'm not just going to give it out just because somebody requested. But if it's in resonance and if it aligns and it feels like, yes, this is, you know, this is sure I have clearance here, then I will follow through. You know what I mean? Because that's in alignment with my obedience. And so when we talk about discernment, we have to make sure we put discernment before money. You know, money. So we put discernment before all of those things. You know what I mean? Because we'll lose ourselves to money. If the price is right. And I literally just flipped to that. Something just told me to just open up to a scripture. And it's the Bible that my mom gave me. And I was like, let me just see what it opened up to. And it started talking about greed. And it was talking about how people will sell out anything. They will sell out their families. They will sell out themselves. They will sell out anything for money, for greed. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, we want to make sure we're not selling ourselves out. Like we talk a lot about celebrities selling their soul. And it's like, you too, to social media, you don't even get no money. Right? You know what I mean? You're selling your soul for attention. You're selling your soul for validation. You're selling your soul. You're selling it. You're not getting money, but you're selling it. You're giving your goods away. Like that's again intention up front. I'm putting this. This is my intention. This is my intention. This is my intention. It's like writing a check. This is my intention. You see what I'm saying? So you know it. Like I said, it's a dark playground. You have to be strategic. That's the best way that I can put it. Social media, aka strategy. Be strategic when you're using it. And not to say it's always going to be serious all the time. Sometimes you want to play, and that's cool too. That's a part of you. That's okay sometimes, you know. I know I definitely do it. But as far as like other things, just make sure strategy.
Yep.
Always strategy.
Let
it you work it, don't let it work you, as they say.
That part. I love that. And, you know, it's just important, you know, there's so many, we can talk about this for a long time, you know, because I don't think a lot of people realize selling your soul, you know, you selling yourself for attention, you getting on social media and posting all day. You don't even really feel like it. You're doing it just because you want people to, you know what I'm saying, or you afraid that your likes are going to go down or this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying? You've already, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many ways that can go, but I love the way that you broke that down, you know. But I would like to ask you if you could just go over, because I know that even in our Zoom call, we had, we were talking about, and even I believe you mentioned it today too, just being led by spirit and your intuition, your inner guidance, you know, those intuitive nudges that you get along your journey when you're being shifted into a new direction. And I would love for you to kind of explain what that looks like or what that feels like for someone who might not be able to understand how that works for them. I mean, obviously everybody has a unique way of moving with spirit, but the best way that you do it,
because you can't really explain it.
Yeah.
It literally is something that you cannot resist.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you feel it, it's an undeniable presence. You know, like it will literally move you, you know, like it will literally move you. And so I would say this: if you term yourself to be a vessel, a vehicle, you are just that. So a lot of times it's not just you, right? So for a lot of people will say, you know, God is using you, you know, or spirit is using you. And, you know, and even in some other cultures will refer to it as possession, you know, and so you are being used, you know. But the thing is that if you're so in control, ego, and you're not in surrender, spirit, then you will never know.
Yeah.
So I can explain it, but if that's not what you're ready for,
yes,
and that's not what you're willing to do, if you're not willing to offer up yourself in a certain capacity to where this existence is more than you, and you're not willing to be a vessel of wisdom, healing, strength, goodness, love, so on, compassion, grace, all of the things, because all of that is energies. It's energies. So if you're not willing to surrender to that, to allow that to move through you, so that you can be whatever beacon of light and love for someone else, then you will never experience it. But the thing is that when you get out of the way of yourself, you know, you get out of the way of yourself. And so for me, like, it's been levels, you know, so it comes in levels of your readiness and your willingness, your levels and your willingness of surrender, because there's levels to surrender. Like some people may say, you know what, I don't reach my capacity at 10. I'm not going there. And somebody else may say, I'm going for 100. I'm going for 200. Like, I just want to be completely all that I came here to be. I just want to do all that I came here to do. You know, some people have a capacity because they're afraid, right? And the thing is that you're afraid of the power that you actually have the capability of assessing within yourself. So the thing is that we are limitless. We have the ability to feel and experience inside of ourselves and share from within us to others. Again, just being that vessel is limitless. So if you're not willing to experience the limitlessness of yourself, then you will never know. You may gently know, you may randomly every now and then get a little hit or something like that. But when this becomes your liberty, this becomes your lifestyle, like this is all day, every day for you, that's total surrender.
Yes.
That's total surrender. I'm not afraid. Fear is not leading my life. Fear is not leading my love. Like there's not fear there. And that doesn't mean like fear is never there. Of course, you're going to be tested. You're going to always be tested, whether you're afraid or not. You're going to be tested to see if you're going to give power to the fear or not. You're going to be tested. but it's about the power of what it is that you choose. What do you choose? So for me, when I experience and begin to experience the fullness of not just my human self, right? Yes. I put my hands up and I said, I surrender. I put my hands up and I said, I surrender. And I was hit with a volt and frequency of energy I had never felt in my life. The same volt and frequency that I was looking for when I got hands laid on me in church. I was expecting that to happen then, but it did not happen until I said that I surrender. And let me tell you, the moment that I said that, more happened than what I could have expected. So the thing is that when you really get into this space of being a vessel, it's not about expectancy. And if there's any expectation, just expect for it to happen and to happen. Exactly. You know what I mean? And in any time, in any place, because when we're trying to be in control, it's like we trying to be civilized. Just like sister talking about, you know, I got a button up and I'm like, I don't wear no buttons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not taking the conservative. I'm not taking the, what's the word? Conventional route. Yes. That's not what I'm here to do. Yes. I'm here to live a boxless life. I'm here to live a cageless life. I'm talking about the life of freedom that we used to have before all of this slavery and all of this stuff. Now I'm talking about living in that frequency within myself where I truly remember who I am, you know? And so in doing so, I know I'm going to be tapping into something that a lot of people won't have the ability to do because they're still weighed down by fear and they're still weighed down by trauma. So if that answers your question, I know I kind of went a little rabbit hole-ish, but I tend to do that. But for me, it's all about the surrender. But if you're not willing to go there, it's just not going to happen. And so in some of the ways in which you can experience it, pay attention to your dreams. If you're not even willing to pay attention to your dreams, then ain't no need for nothing else to show up in your life and reveal anything. So all the things that are happening is an assignment to see, are you paying attention? Yes. The more you pay attention, the more that will be given to you. Exactly. The more you pay attention and you actually do something with it, the more that will be given to you because you've proven yourself worthy. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it comes through so many ways, through your dreams, through so many synchronizations and confirmations. You know, it can just come through just a whisper, you know, a whisper in consciousness. Like sometimes I'll just hear stuff and I'll be like, and then boom, I can look around and it's right there. I have to say something to someone. You know, and then this becomes a domino effect because now that, and I, you know, we can view this as I've opened a portal within myself because I am the vessel. And now it becomes a domino effect of everyone around me because now everybody is hitting into the frequency. Everybody's getting the same wave, same messages, same vision, same hints, you know, and it just don't stop. Like, it's like a wave that don't stop. And once it hits you, if you ain't too scared, you learn wave, it's just gonna keep taking you, and then before you know it, you enjoy the wave now. And it doesn't take away from the fact that sometimes it don't always feel good, you know what I mean? But that's okay. That's okay. I feel like that comes with the territory. That is an inevitable part of existence. That's gonna happen. So you just have to embrace it. And so it's all about embrace.
That's I definitely agree with you, and I think that was beautifully said. We're going to take a few minutes to do a quick commercial. We'll be right back with you guys. Hold on one second.
If you finally reached a place in your journey to where you are just over feeling not enough, you're tired of feeling trapped in a box that you've been put in, and just fed up with feeling disconnected from your higher self, please join me May 17th in my internally transformative, perspective expanding self-empowerment masterclass. This class isn't just about information, but transformation. Imagine feeling empowered and in control of your life and internal reality, more confident, self-assured, as well as finally having that deep sense of peace at all times, knowing that you are always just enough and your power was always within you. This 3D class is designed to give you a practical and easily understandable understanding on how you can overcome and rise above fear, lack mentality, insecurities, inner child wounds, and trauma so that you can reclaim your divinity and remember who you are in divine confidence.
To lock in your seat in my Empower Me Masterclass, please visit www.sacredmelanated.alchemy.com and use discount code Cosmic Konnectionz at checkout to get 10% off.
Hey everyone, this is Gia and I've got an amazing deal for you. This is a chakra guide that you need to have. This chakra guide will help you understand, identify, and unblock each of your chakras. You'll learn about each one, its functions, what exactly the chakras do, and this will help you really be in tune with your body and how it corresponds with each of your body parts, internal organs, and all of that. You'll be able to keep a log of your chakra clearings and really understand how to unblock these chakras. If you don't know how to scan and clear out your chakras, this guide will give you a step-by-step instruction. So don't worry, I got you covered. This chakra guide is available now for download, and you can use the discount code Cosmic Konnectionz for 10% off. Get your copy now.
How you doing, my beautiful brothers and sisters? If you're looking for an all-natural brand, Ancestor Hands is that brand for you. I invented this brand to give people like me a great product at a lesser price and made sure I kept all the harmful chemicals out of my products. Ancestor Hands is more than a brand, it's a movement. So leave those chemical brands alone and come home to Ancestor Hands.
Ancestor's Hands specializes in natural skin care products. Make sure you guys go visit www.ancestorhands.net. I promise you guys you will not be disappointed. I can say that firsthand as I have tried his products and they are superb. So tap in.
Yo, what's good, family? This your boy C, and here at Eyes Open Clothing, our mission is to leave every single customer with a smile. We aren't just your regular fashion company. We thrive on targeting our soul tribe, attracting positivity, abundance, good health, and new connections, and looking.
Y'all see the drip? Okay, you know how I had to call myself one. To my listeners, you guys can go visit www.eyeopenclothing.com to purchase your fit today. And last but not least, make sure you guys visit www.cosmickonnectionz.com if you guys are interested in having your business featured on one of our episodes. Check out our website to view our sponsorship packages.
Okay, so now we're back. I really am excited about an event that you have coming up, I think. It's the Sacred Duality. Can you please tell us a little bit about that? I love stuff like that because we got to bring the collectives together. You know, the last couple of years have been a little rough for the female and the male collective. So anything that brings us together, brings harmony, brings understanding, I am for it. So please tell me a little bit more about Sacred Duality.
Well, I first have to address what you said about where we have been generationally for some time, and all of that was by design, right?
Yep.
The dysfunction and the divide, the war that has happened and occurred between us has been all by design. And so, you know, now is a time where we have to take back what it is that we desire to experience with ourselves and with each other. And so for me, as everyone knows, I initially, you know, started with working with just the sisters and the sisters alone, because that's just how it naturally happened. It took me some time to begin to work with the brothers. I had to really wait till I felt clear within myself to actually extend myself to them in that capacity. So I had to do a lot of healing with the masculine energy, first with, you know, with my father and my past relationships, the things that I've experienced, and also the narratives that I held within myself in regards to the masculine energy. And so when I felt the clearance, then I began to open, you know, myself to being able to, you know, take on male clients for, you know, healing sessions and stuff like that. So it probably was about 2 years ago where I received the assignment of Sacred Duality. And as you can see, I titled it, you know, for the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So it's for us to come together, right, and begin to truly see each other in the likeness of the divine. We come together, we have the conversations that they probably have never had in a safe space with each other, you know, to really hear each other out, to feel each other out, to hold space for each other. But the whole point of it is for each other to feel safe with each other. So we're creating a new language, which has been an ancient language, where we feel safe with each other again. We feel safe having, you know, uncomfortable conversations. We feel safe in sharing what our experiences have been, maybe even where we may hold certain expectations that may no longer align with what it is that we desire to experience with each other. So it's a safe space that is curated for everyone to feel heard, everyone to feel seen. And so that's what sacred duality is, you know, safe space for divine masculine and divine feminine. We talk about all the things that need to be discussed. We allow the brothers to speak. So for me, it's very important that the brothers are heard. You know, like me, I hear my sisters all the time, and sometimes I have to check my sisters. You know what I mean? But I feel like, you know, the brothers having a safe space is very important. And so for me, whatever I can do to ensure that they feel safe and they feel heard. And this is not to make it like he's weak. It's like, no, the parts of him that may have been a weakness that, you know, needs to be encouraged and needs to be strengthened and needs to be motivated, I know will come from us, because I know for a lot of times we've been the destruction, you know, that has happened to them, you know, based off of the things they have experienced. But again, all of these things are by design, because really no one is to blame. You know, when we really look at it, all of us are a product of the experiences that we have had or have not had, you know. And so the point is now, what is it that we desire to experience and create with each other? And so for me, it's for it to be functional, it's for it to be healthy, it's for it to be safe. And so that's what that space is. And so for Sacred Duality on 420, we will be having, you know, yoga, Kemetic yoga from our sister D, who is a part of our ministry. We will have plant medicine featuring Hape microdose. It's optional. It just depends on what level of experience, you know, someone wants to have. And then we have ciphers with each other. It's a space where everyone has the opportunity to share their gifts. If they sing, if they rap, if they do poetry, you know, it's just an open flow. It's an open space. Again, like I said, for everybody to feel heard, seen, and felt, and safe, most importantly. So that's Sacred Duality.
Beautiful.
Okay, that sounds so much fun. You know, I also love the way that you put that too, because I feel like, you know, just stating that none of us are to blame, and it brings back a sense of unity. You know what I'm saying? Just remembering that, you know, because we spent so much time pointing fingers at each other and battling it out, whether who's to blame, it's your fault, this, that, and the third. But it never gets to the root of the issue. You know what I'm saying? There's no way to evolve in that mindset. You know what I'm saying? And so I love the way that you kind of put that there, because if we take away the finger pointing, we can come together and actually do the work and heal together.
Yeah, like, and for me, that's what it's all about. Like, I'm like, we could sit here and point fingers all day about who did what to who, and I'm always the person that's going to be about solutions. So what we going to do about it? You know, are we going to continue to operate like that, or are we going to create what we want? You know, and so I'm all about creating what we desire to experience. We're not going to sit up here and, you know, talk for 3 hours about what we don't want to experience, what we don't like, and all this and that and the third. We're going to, because all of that is evident, you know, and that's basically on rerun in every narrative that we can sit down and listen to. So let's talk about something different. Let's talk about healing. Let's talk about being functional. Let's talk about being safe. Let's talk about being loving. Let's talk about being unconditionally loving. Let's talk about not being judgmental. Let's talk about being understanding when someone has acted a certain way. Like, because for me, like, and it's taken me time to get there, of course, but it's like, I can't fault people for how they turn out based off of what they've went through. But my role is to remind them that they don't have to stay there. They don't have to continue there. You know, so at that point, when it's brought to you back that way, which I consider to be brought to the crossroads, now you have the responsibility to make a decision on whether you want to continue to be unhealthy and dysfunctional, because at that point, now you are the blame. You know what I mean? But for many of us, we don't know why we are the way that we are. We don't know why other people are the way that they have been towards us. We don't know why. But once you know why, it's like, oh, okay, I understand that. I get why you've been moving like that. I get why you went down that path. I get why you've sabotaged yourself. I get why you've been abusive. I get it. But do you want to continue to do that? You know what I mean? And so, you know, like we all, and so what it went back to is I had to write it down. No one is to blame, but we all have work to do. You know what I mean? So the whole point is like, do you see the fact that we have work to do with each other? Okay, well, let's focus on the work that needs to be accomplished with us. You know what I mean? Let's focus on that. Then that needs to just be the focus. When we get all that done, then we can talk about other stuff. But until the work get done, we don't need to talk about nothing else. Not none of that. Yeah.
Agreed. You know, like you said, we've had this dance for generations and generations, and at this point, we have no choice but to come up with a solution. We can sit here and talk about everyone and their mamas after us and destroying us or hurting us or doing this, that, and the third, but we're also doing it to each other.
Yeah.
It's one thing to acknowledge it.
Yeah, and
acknowledging it is good.
Yes.
But then solution should follow what is being acknowledged, not an argument. You know what I mean? Not an argument. Let's acknowledge, let's provide solutions. Everyone receives a task of accountability, how we're going to work at it. We agree on it, and then we keep it moving. Then we can have something that is very functional. Now we can actually build with each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So for me, like that's the focus. So that's why I don't be focused on, you know, religion and all of these things. I'm like, no, like, how's your heart?
Yes.
You know what I mean? How's your heart? How's your state of being? You know what I mean? How do you feel about yourself? Where's your self-worth with yourself? Like, how you really feeling? Let's talk about the things that really matter about you, you know. So like, what that heart do.
What that heart do. And it's, you're right, you know, because at the end of the day, as we all know, there's nothing that's going to change in this world if we don't change what's within ourselves. And that's how we begin. That's where the domino effect begins. But somebody has to initiate that process, and then it just starts, you know what I'm saying? And then it continues to grow and go. But we have to.
And if I have to be the initiator, no matter how uncomfortable it makes people, that's what I came here to do. You know, I know that I have to shake up things sometimes that doesn't always feel good, and that's okay, especially when it comes to my family, and people that love me and stuff like that. Like before I chose to be a part of your family, I chose to be the truth. And so I'm going to be the truth, you know, even when you don't like it, you know what I mean? And so that's just another thing. Shaking things up to wake things up, because things have been sleeping dead for too long, you know, and I do that in any capacity, you know, in any capacity, whether that be people who may have just seen me for the first time. If I hear something and I don't even know your name, if I'm if I'm told to say something, I'm gonna say it, you know, and a lot of times, and I cannot care about how somebody feels about it. You know what I mean? Like correction, I have to correct things. If I hear things, I have to, well, y'all learned that in the other session we did with each other, but you know, just to transmute that energy, you know, so it don't matter where I'm at, I'm on call, I'm on duty, unless I tell me I can't work. But
it's like the spirit of activation, you know, when people get around your energy, and you know, they're forced to evolve. They're forced to it like activates something in their own frequency that initiates the process, or at least plants the seed. It's like a car that's been sitting out for dozens of years, and you take the key and you try to start it up, and it's like screeching or whatever, and it might not sound good at first, right? So you don't want to turn it on because it sounds so bad, right? But you realize that, oh well, I mean, it sounded like it was about to start off. I just don't like the way that it sounds. You know what I'm saying? But that's like you are you're the ignition. You know, you got the key and you're putting it in their ignition. You're like, you know, and they might just like jump up a little bit, like, oh shit, I'm
the override. Override.
Yeah. There you go. You know?
Got the override.
Yep, you know, and that's just the way that goes. But somebody's got to do it. The car can't just sit there. You got to get moving. Got places to go. You have places to go. You know, they have places to go. We got, as a collective, have places to go, things to do, and we can't just continue to sit around. If we say that we love someone and we love the collective, or you know what I'm saying, or we're operating out of love.
We love the collective, because you never know where you're going to be positioned and who you're going to be positioned to, you know. And I have learned that in my line of work, it don't have nothing to do with color, as I have been reminded. I was born from both worlds, so I'm a bridge all by myself, you know. And so like again, spirit is spirit, ain't got no color.
Yeah.
Spirit ain't got no color. It's an energy, it's a frequency, and love ain't got no color. It ain't choosing no side, but love. And so, whenever it hits, it just got to be. That's the part where I'm talking about levels of surrender. Like there's some people that like, I ain't doing nothing, I ain't saying nothing for. Well, that's you chose to get off on the 10th floor. That's okay. That's where you choose to be. But as for me, I had to go to another level. I had to do it, work from another level. So yep. Where else is it at?
What was that?
Where she went at? I don't see her now.
Oh, I don't know where she went. She's probably gonna hop back in. Maybe she was having some connection.
Okay. All right. I definitely want to give a shout out to my Mother's Army Ministry, my sisters that are present right now. I just want to tell y'all I love y'all. Thank you endlessly for your love and your support. Always showing up and riding for me, no matter what time it is. I know sometimes this is y'all bedtime for some of y'all, but y'all still up. Thank you for being here. And I see one of my brothers, Indigo the Voice. He's on here as well. He also inspired one of the Sacred Duality events. Even though he wasn't there, he inspired it because a lot of time my assignments come through dreams. And so in one of my dreams, I saw myself just holding his heart. And I was like, okay, we got to give some attention to the brother's heart space, and so after I had that vision, I put the calendar, to work to put the Sacred Duality on calendar. And so that was one thing. And like maybe about a week ago, I had a dream about one of our brothers, and he was just crying, in the dream. And this is the second dream that I had of him crying, and he was in a collective with brothers, and I was there. And so in this dream in particular, he was just crying. And so what I realized was that he was a representative of the divine masculine. And regardless of where a person is in themselves doesn't take away from them being divine. That don't even matter if they're being ignorant right now, they out here banging or doing whatever. It still doesn't take away from the divine that is inside of them that they have yet to locate and have a relationship with. The divine is still there. You know what I mean? The divine will always be there. We may not be with the divine, but the divine is always there. And so in that dream, he was crying. And as I woke up, a lot of times when I see certain things, I always listen for what will come up after that. And what I was hearing, how important it is for our brothers to speak about the things that they don't talk about, like things that they think in their minds, things that they hold in and they just carry and they don't share with anybody. And so it's just like they just have these loads, they have these burdens, they have stuff that's just weighing on them, life, pressure from the woman, pressure from society, pressure from bills, like all of these things. And and for a lot of times we expect so much of them, but they also need that space held for them too. You know what I mean? They might need to cry too, and so I know sometimes some brothers be feeling like they so hard they don't need to cry, but you may have got to a place where you might not be crying, but there are some brothers that need to release, and some of them do release through tears, and it's absolutely okay. So I feel like that part and that aspect of the masculine should be supported, for them to release, for them to heal, because sometimes they got hurt, like they done been traumatized, they done been sexually abused, and all kind of things have happened to a lot of them, and you just will never know because sometimes they just never talk about it. So when we wonder why they're angry and why they're this and why they're that, it's because they have so much that's inside of them that's unresolved. So I am an advocate for their healing. So in the dream, that's what I saw. And I told my brother about it. He's like, man, I don't even remember the last time I cried. I said, it's okay, because this is showing up in the spirit. This is showing that there's a movement that is happening deep inside of you that may not be happening on the surface. You may not see it and experience it in this aspect, but it is something that is happening. You are releasing something, and you're not the only one that needs it. So I brought that to his attention. So that's also another aspect of what will be implemented into the next Sacred Duality. So that space is also spirit-led. Like I have things that's written down that we're going to do, but it's also very spirit-led. So whatever we're led to do, whatever is led to be said or led to be done, that's what we're going to do. But space is going to be held for whoever needs it. Absolutely. I don't know how I got there, but yeah,
but it needed to get there. And that's why, I don't do the scripts, or I just like to get on here and just allow spirit to flow, because that's when we're on live and we're also able to reach who we need to reach or speak what needs to be spoke. You know what I'm saying? So I love that you said that, because I agree that, I have 2 sons, and, most of us, or society in general, has painted this image of men that, oh, you're not a man if you are like express your feelings, or cry or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that doesn't take away the fact that they're still human. And we all know that anything that's any suppressed emotion is it's going to dismantle the body eventually. So it's the fact that we all need to be able to express our inner truth, ourselves, and release the things that have blocked our chakras, have blocked our creativity, have blocked our or have lowered our self-esteem, or whatever. We forget that, like, we look at men as they're just like a whole different species to a degree. You know what I'm saying? They're just the divine masculine, or the because if we're gonna talk about God or the divine source, is that, to me, it's in even balance of divine masculine and divine feminine energy.
Yeah.
And
the whole point, like, to sum it up, is like they deserve to be loved.
Absolutely. Period.
Like, that's just really it. They deserve to be loved. Like, everybody want to be so hard and so this and so that, but it's like, no, they deserve to be loved, and love is not like gonna be beating them up. Love is not gonna do that. And so that's the space that they need. They need to be loved. Like, they need to be loved for real. They need to be held. Some of them feel uncomfortable being held. Like, it's like, hey, what's wrong, bro? You can take the armor off. It's okay. It's safe here.
I know
it's love is foreign to a lot of people. Like, even some sisters are uncomfortable being held because of the things that they have experienced. So it's like, nah, what we need is love. What we need is love. And again, that's Sankofa, because that's the heart. What we need is love. What we need is real love. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely agree. As you were talking, as both of you guys were talking, I was thinking, because, I remember when I was younger, I had I was very uncomfortable with this whole lovey touchy, like, nah, I'm good, boo. Like, we don't need to do all that. Like, if anybody cried, I was just like, why are you doing this to me? I didn't know how to respond to people crying. I'm like, whatever. But then also with the whole masculine thing, and I say this I joke all the time with my husband. I'd be like, I don't know what I'm saying comes from my own I call it the toxic masculinity, because I grew up in suck it up. I grew up that way. I impose that on myself, and no needs to be crying, suck it up, let's keep it moving. And I know that I, for a long time, imposed that same thing on the mat. Like, man up. Look, I'm from New York, though. You gotta forgive. I'm New Yorker. You know what I'm saying? It's just true. So I had to learn. I had to learn a lot. I had to learn all of that. And even now I'm still learning. But I definitely feel like the masculine collective has been slighted in that they're not allowed to express how they feel. They're not allowed to show emotion. They're not, and it's been really, really difficult and really hard for that collective to really be able to share real life, real issues, real stuff, and that bottling up is never a good thing. So I love the fact that you're opening up this kind of space, this safe haven almost, for them to be able to do that. And not just, for them to be able to do that, but give the opportunity for the feminine collective to receive that. Hallelujah. And to give
them to be able to receive each other. And it's so healing. It's so healing. Just to sit in the space, not interrupt them, not go back and forth with them, not go back and and we just listen to each other. Like the I'm respecting you. You feel respected. That is healing for them. And it's healing for us. It's healing something with us. Because we us sisters, we got our dysfunctions too. Yes. We won't let them say nothing, and we got to have the last word, and like all of these things. You know what? We're not doing all of that. However long it's gonna take you to say what it is that you have to say, I'm gonna hold this space for you. And then I request the same in return. You know what I mean? Like, we really have, like, that is love. Like, that is love, where I am taking the time. I'm not rushing you. I'm not cutting you off. I'm hearing you. I'm respecting you. I see you. I love you. I hear you. And And it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. And I know some people don't use the word romantic, but it doesn't have to be that level of relationship between a man and a woman. It doesn't have to be that. And we can still love and respect each other. We can still love and see each other. We can still love and have space for each other. That is possible, because that too is also healing, because there's a narrative that that can't exist between man and woman, that there can't be friendship, because there's always some sexual agenda or some type of agenda at play. And my thing is, well, if that's what you agree to, that's what you agree to. But over here, that's not what I believe. I don't believe that. That's not my experience. It doesn't have to be that way. So the thing is that, you know, for some people, that's what they claim. That's their belief. That's their experience. But we also have the birthright to choose what will not be our experience or what will not be our experience anymore. So that's why in every, you know, relationship, every connection, we determine the terms. We determine the contract of the relationship and what it will be. You know what I mean? We can't let what things have been, how it's always been, to decide how it's supposed to be. For me today, that's what it was 10 years ago. It doesn't have to be that way for me. So this is where we come into the ownership of what it is that we truly know and believe for ourselves, and not just relying on what has been given to us, these leftovers that did not work for other people, for us. You know what I mean? So this is the time where we taking it back. You know, that's Sankofa, we taking it back. And so I don't be caring how nobody feel about whatever. I'm like, this is what works for me. You don't live my life with me. You don't live my life for me. So you can't really say anything. You know what I mean?
And it's a powerful thing, because, you know, I think that with that narrative, it stops a lot of us from being friends with men, or men being friends with women, because they think that there's always this ulterior motive. And these connections, platonic connections, we have divine platonic connections, and we forget that. You know what I'm saying? And those connections are also here to help us evolve and help us heal. And, you know, because even like with Gia, we've had conversation about just being in the sisterhood heals mother wounds.
Yes. Ooh, talk about it. I know all about it.
You know what I'm saying? So imagine being a man and a woman in a platonic space, to where they're receiving each other in spaces such as your ceremony. That can heal mother and father wounds for both individuals.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, like, even for a lot of sisters, and I hear it all the time, where they're like, you know, I'm not used to getting along with other women, or someone be like, I can't even be around a bunch of women. I can't even, until they come into this space. And now that you've experienced it, now you can no longer say that.
Yes.
Now you have a new experience that you can write into, you know, the script of your reality, to where it's not just that anymore. Like, it doesn't have to be just that. You know,
conscious shift.
Everything shifts. And so now you can let that go. You can let what was go. And you can also find the gratitude in those experiences for now, how you used to experience it. Now you done been introduced to something, and now you actually see what sisterhood really looks like.
Exactly. And that was my experience. That was my experience. I was one of those women who's like, I get along better with men. I do. You know what I'm saying? That's just how
I said that too.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? And now I feel like because I've experienced these kinds of spaces, now I'm in a space where I feel more balanced with both genders, you know what I'm saying, with both energies, because it's just like I had the energy shift, or the conscious shift of looking at things from higher perspectives, and being able to open myself up to another woman, you know what I'm saying, in a way that I wasn't able to open up maybe to my mom or to my grandmother or to certain friendships that I had in the past. You feel me? And so it creates this whole paradigm shift to a degree.
Yeah. We're totally in agreement.
And even with the men, you know, as far as men, you know, we forget. I mean, you can look it up. They have the highest rate of suicide. They need it. They need it more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a powerful thing to have that space.
And I also wanted to say, like, when it comes to our relationships with other people, new people, right? I know a lot of times we kind of float around the question of, can I trust them?
Yeah.
Do I trust them? And not even asking the question sometimes, but operating in the frequency of, I don't trust them, right? Mm-hmm. So, but what it's really about, when it comes to relationship with other people is you trusting yourself. It's not about trusting them. It's about trusting yourself. And so I just wanted to bring that in because a lot of times we make that about other people and we make that their responsibility for us to trust them, and how our relationship with them is about trusting them, but it's about trusting you. So I just wanted to bring that in too. It's about trusting yourself. Yeah.
I'm thankful that you put that out there, because we put so much on the external world that we give our power away daily.
Yes. We
give our power away and don't even realize how much power we actually have to, like it's so draining when you operate in that space to where you're putting so much on the external reality, whether you can trust the person, whether this person is reliable, whether, you know what I'm saying? Like all it takes is a moment to really get to know, understand, and overstand yourself in order for you to walk outside of your door and know, for one, that you're protected. You know what I'm saying? That everything is divinely guided.
Yes.
And that for three is that you basically can trust not only your guides, but yourself enough to receive those messages that you get from your guides.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I mean, I used to be we all, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I don't know if I can trust you, and this, that, and the third. And what really hit me was that same. I was watching like some YouTube video on YouTube, and it said, "Well, do you trust yourself?" And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, I guess not, because obviously everybody's questionable.
Everybody, including yourself.
Including myself. And it's what you wonder why you can't make a decision. Or you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to get in tune with our own divinity, because that really changes the game for everything outside of you. And I was watching, I think, I was on TikTok and I was watching a video of Bashar, and he was talking about basically he gave an analogy of you looking in the mirror, and you looking in the mirror, you seeing the person in the mirror, this person is frowning, and you're waiting for the person in the mirror to smile. And if you're waiting for the person in the mirror to smile, you'll wait forever, because that change doesn't begin in the reflection, but it begins within. In order for you to mirror, you have to change yourself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was just extremely powerful, because I just love the way that he broke that down, because it's so true. Is that we're looking at everything else to change, everyone else to change, everyone else to do right and get right and treat you right, and this, that, and the work, and this, that, and the third one. Reality, if you change yourself in the right environments that reflect to you the inner work that you've done on yourself.
Yes. And also on top of that, though, it's also understanding that we allow so much of the external to take such hold that we don't realize that we have to co-sign. Our choice matters. It's not just that, oh, I can just, if something happens outside, oh my God. No, I have to co-sign on this thing. I have to agree to this thing, and understanding how powerful that is. That it's my choice. I choose what my experience is going to be with it. Period. Always. And when I made that click this year, when I made that click, let me tell you what, it's been different. It's been different. I have to co-sign. So what you choose to do, brother, sister, good luck to you. Got nothing to do with me. I choose what I'm going to experience. Even with you. Even with you. Hallelujah. So it's like, it's just understanding that. And that's how much power that comes from that understanding.
Absolutely, because we be creating so much anxiety trying to figure out the external world. And I love that you said that too, because it's like, if you think that you might not be able to trust somebody, or somebody's doing you wrong, or this, that, and the third, you have every right and every, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have the powers in your hands to remove anything out of your life that you don't want in it.
Period.
So one of the things that came up while y'all were, speaking on that is, what place within ourselves are we choosing to operate from and live from? Is it our head? So when you was talking about the anxieties, right? And, also what we call them, the insanities and all of these things, that is operating from our head and not our heart. So I just wanted to bring that into place. in regards to the relationship that we're having with ourselves. Are we having it in our head, or are we having it in our heart? And the relationship that we're having with others, are we having it in our head, or are we having it in our heart? And so even if you are having it in your head, just make sure you bring it back to your heart. Just bring it back to your heart and measure it there. And then make whatever necessary decisions that need to be made from there. But for the most part, it's like, just bring it back to your heart. You know what I mean? Do you feel safe enough with yourself? Do you trust yourself enough to bring it back to your own heart? And if you don't, then that means that you have work to do with your own heart, and you shouldn't be making nothing about anybody else. So while y'all were speaking that, that's what came up. You choose the head or the heart.
Yes.
Period. Period.
That's right. It's true. Absolutely. You know, we in being in the heart space is non-judgmental. It's just intuitive. You know, it's not about being good or bad or right or wrong. It's just about what, you know what I'm saying, what is in alignment and what isn't. You know, and I think that, and also, you know, obviously love, you know, we want to operate out of love in all things, because that, you know, that's the, what do you call it? The highest of frequencies.
Yes.
So.
Yes, beautiful, 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 beautiful. I just want to real quick let everybody know that if you have a question that you want to ask, this will be the time. I just posted into this chat. I hope everybody gets it. The link for the StreamYard, you can come on and ask a question. And did it go through? I don't know. Check the description box. It should be in the description box, the link. And just hop on. If you have one quick question, let's be respectful of the beautiful Kamilah's time. So just, if you have a question, just hop on and we'll try our best to answer the questions.
Yeah, I saw one brother had asked the question in the chat, and then after I finished saying what I was saying, he was like, "Question answered." Question answered. I do see one of my sisters on Instagram. I am born for purpose. She says, "How would you go about supporting a man in healing who believes in your healing power, but also wants a romantic relationship? Is causing a divide with the perspectives differences." And so I would say that just goes to, you know, illustrate that y'all are not in the same place. So regardless of what he feels like he wants with the relationship, it just goes to show that the level of maturity, the level of healing that is needed indicates that he's not ready for it. He's not ready for it. So I would just say, just respect it for where it is. But I wouldn't engage, especially if there's already a divide and there's not an agreement there with why it is the way that it is and why it can't be the way that they may want it, is because it's not time, you know, and it might not ever be time, but it's definitely not time right now, you know. So if you can't respect that, then there may have to be some further boundaries or even further separation from that individual if it's not in alignment. Because every relationship, every connection should be healing. It should be love. It should be understanding. And if it's not that, there should be measures being made to bring it to that. So if it's not that and it's not on the way to that, then it shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be. And respectfully, it can be that way without any drama. You know, it can be that way without any drama. And if someone doesn't respect that, then that just goes to show how much respect they have for their own self, you know, because people are going to respect you if they respect themselves. You know, there will be understanding. Yep.
Yes, I definitely agree.
Beautifully said.
Yeah. Y'all have any other things y'all want to ask until we can get some other questions? I love you, Mimi. Ashe.
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments too.
Yeah, I know, we just feeling good. We're just floating right now, right? And that's how it be. We just floating.
Yes. Divine flow, man. You know, it's crazy. I don't even want to call it crazy because that's a little dismissive. But what I will say is that it's just I think that there's a lot of, there's so many, we put ourselves in boxes, don't even realize we put ourselves in boxes. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like, and I say that because, for one, the first thing that came to my mind, once again, it's just like me, your energy is just flow. It just is. It's just like there's no constraints, there's no chains. There's just like, it's just pure freedom. It's just like you know what I'm saying? Like water, like a river, there, it goes through, like there ain't nothing gonna stop it, it just is. And I feel like, we forget as individuals or as practitioners or whatever the case may be, that we have to spirit can't, like, if you're gonna put yourself in a box, spirit can't get in, or it can't flow properly. You're just gonna go ping ping like inside the box. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like what would I guess my question would be like, what would be the best advice you can give to an individual who feels as though they're like, that moment, like that point in your journey to where you're trying to break free from the constraints. You feel me? Like, what would be your first advice that you would give to that person who's like wanting to embrace their authentic self and they're doing the inner work or whatever, but they fail to kind of take that leap of faith? Would you say that, or just like be themselves? Would you say that maybe it's not time for them to like fully embrace or just be? Mm-hmm. Or do you think that there's still more that needs to be learned? Or do you know what I'm saying? I'm not sure.
What I would say is a question, and I would ask them, where do they feel like they are being led? Or what are they feeling led to do? Like, what is it inside of them that they're feeling called or led to do? You know what I mean? Because in order to get to that place, then there has to be two things, on the table, and that's where you have been and where it is that you desire to go and experiencing yourself. And so it would be, what is it that you truly want to experience? Are you willing to allow yourself the permission to give yourself the opportunity to experience this freedom because it's what you really want? And then it would be, what does that freedom look like for you? And also reminding them that it's fully attainable, because you can do whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you want to do in your definition of freedom, whatever that definition is. And so my thing would be is to define that for yourself and then give it to yourself. Give it to yourself and be realistic while you're defining it. And don't define it with what you feel like everybody else is doing. Really listen to yourself and define it for yourself, and then go do that. And if that works for you, continue to do it. If that doesn't work for you, you don't have to be a prisoner there. You can shift gears anytime that you want to. So my thing would be asking them what it is that they will, what they want, what they see, what they define for themselves. Because I could tell them, but I can't tell them.
Yeah, right.
You see what I'm saying? But the whole point is for you to speak for yourself, to affirm for yourself, because a lot of times we still seeking answers and direction outside of us. And it's like, but you done been hearing it for 2 months now. You done been hearing it for a year now. When are you going to listen to yourself? When are you going to stop doing what you've been hearing for a year, 5 years, that you need to stop doing and that you don't need to do anymore? When are you going to listen? So those are the type of conversations that I would have, and that will be the feedback that I would give and bring it right back to them.
Yes.
To make them answer for themselves. Because when they answer for themselves, they're going to create that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Agreed.
I just want to reveal that it is open, and that it is possible.
Yes. Would you, because I know that, like, for some, like, we get I don't know if I'm saying this right. I don't know if it's like we get identity confused with character, or just like it's just like how we say we can be whatever we want, right? But at our core, there's only one. You know what I'm saying? So would you say that we're like we can experience ourselves through how can I say this? Like it's like I hear it in my head, but I'm trying to get it out in my words. But it's just like, you can, how we can say like we can be whatever we want, right? You can be an actor, you can be a singer, you can do this, that, and the third, right? But what advice would you give to someone who to differentiate whether that's their calling, or they're being called to that, or they're just wanting to do what everybody else is doing, or what somebody else is doing, or they've seen somebody else doing? How would you kind of give them, or how would you help them know that that's actually a nudge or an intuitive nudge, or just like a hop on? If that makes sense.
Well, for one, like I love to ask people questions so they can hear themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll ask questions I already know the answers to, but they need to hear their own answer, right? And then a lot of times from there, then I will interpret it for them, because they may not even understand, you know what I mean? But that's the whole point of me being able to do that. But because it's such a thing where now people are doing what they see other people doing and stuff like that. But the whole point of it is like letting them know, like, if it's not true to you, it's not going to be fulfilling either.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to be fulfilling, because if you're doing something and you're motivated to do something just because that's what everybody else is doing, you are not going to be fulfilled at that.
Yes.
You're not. And you can make it look like honey. You can make it look like icing on a cake. You can make it look like a cherry on top of a sundae, but inside you are not fulfilled and you are not happy. You're going to be mad looking at the people who is actually for. Right? You're going to be mad looking at them because it was actually for them. You know what I mean? So this is where we have to be truly true to ourselves. You know what I mean? And this is why we have to go inside and listen. So, and just like what I talked about, like how I got here, I didn't have an image. I didn't have an inspiration. I didn't even know Queen of Food had existed until way later into my journey. And I was like, oh, wow. So this, this is really a thing.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, again, they want to be at the front. They want to be the lead.
Yeah.
They want to be on the stage. They want to be in the position. That's just their ego. That's not their spirit. Because if you're honoring your spirit, you don't mind being in the audience, because that's where you've been called to be. You don't mind being behind the stage, because that's where you've been called to be. You're still a part of the show, whether you're viewing it or working behind the scenes. You're still a part of the show, even if nobody sees you. Know your part, know your role, and be okay with that. You know? So like sometimes it's so much competition. I want her place. And I tell people all the time, I'll be like, if you want my place, do it. Do it.
Yeah.
But as I always hear, a lot of people, I can't do what you do. I see what you do. I see what you have to put up with. I see what you have to handle. I see what you have to go through. I don't want that. I don't want to do that. Yeah. I'm just going to help you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to just be over here. But a lot of times people don't feel like that. It's like they see the power. They see the purpose. They see the truth. They see the love. They see the love that you're giving. They see the love that you're receiving, and they want that for themselves. But you won't receive that if you don't know that you're worthy.
Yeah.
You won't even be able to identify it. You won't be able to receive it. You won't be able to reciprocate it, because that's not where you are in yourself. So the thing is what people don't realize, even with me, what they witness with what I receive and how I'm loved and how I'm supported. I did a lot of work to get here. I did not get here overnight. I had to sacrifice everything to be who I am. But when I say everything, I mean everything. Everything to be where I am. I've had to sacrifice sacrifice relationships. I've had to sacrifice my body on so many occasions with certain sicknesses and certain attacks, certain psychic attacks, like all kind of things happen. Certain levels of betrayal, which I know now is just a spirit, you know what I mean? But there's a lot that happens, and that's why they say, you know, you make it look easy. You make it look like it's nothing, like it's glamorous and it's glorious, and it's like, yeah, until you see the shadow side of it, until it comes with the territory. So it's, you know, but if you're not called to it, if it's not undeniable, then it's not for you. If it's not something that you cannot ignore, it wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning every day. You say, all right, I'm listening. If it ain't doing that, it might not be your calling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Accept what our calling is.
Yes.
Not look at somebody else and say, that's what I was called to do. Now, I ain't gonna lie. There was a time when I met this EYEZ. She was one of my former godmothers, EYEZ Bahati. Now, we were at this rally after one of these brothers had got murdered by a police officer here in Savannah. And so the whole community rallied up together, you know, and just came together. And this was 2014. So at this event, it was my first time witnessing a libation. Right? Because again, I come from the country. We don't know. I wasn't familiar with no other religion. All I know is Christianity. All I know is we got Methodists over here, we got Pentecost over here, and we got Baptists over there. I'm holy. That's all I know. I don't know nothing. I wasn't exposed to anything else. So I only knew what I knew. But when I was at that rally, and this was around the time of my journey where I decided to come outside, this was where the revolutionary spirit in me started waking up. Because like I said, there's levels. So when the revolutionary spirit started to wake up in me, I had to be out there when that brother got killed. Like I'm like, no, like I'm out here with the people. I'm outside. And I witnessed that libation for the first time. I had never saw that. And she began to call names that was familiar to me: Harriet Tubman, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. And I'm like, I love me some Malcolm X. That's my daddy. Harriet Tubman, that's my mama. You know, and so he had my attention. But I did not know what she was doing. But as I watched that water hit the ground, something in my spirit said, you gonna be doing this. I didn't look at her and say, oh, I want to do that. I want to do what she doing. Doing this. And I didn't know what she was doing.
Wow.
And then months later, she ended up becoming my godmother. I just observed her. I didn't say nothing to her. You see what I'm saying? So everything about your path will align you. Right where you're supposed to be, with certain people that are supposed to prepare you and help to prepare you for your journey. You know what I mean? So there was only certain things that she could teach me, but there were certain places she couldn't take me, you know. And so a lot of times we have people that we align with, that we expect, you know, were they supposed to take me here? Are they supposed to do? No, they did their part. Now you got to do your part. You know? So I just that to say, you know, like listen for what spirit is saying more than what you may even be saying. Like, and if you are saying something, listen for what part of you is saying that.
Yes.
Is that really true to you? Is that right? Is that greed? Is that desperation, like we talked about? Like, what part of you is speaking?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, and so I just had to share that, because it's like, you know, sometimes this is what the journey looks like, you know, and we become, which I feel like that's traditional anyway, because we learn things through observation as well. Like some things to us through observation as well. I didn't have nobody explaining it to me, but it was just something in me. It just resonated to a part of me at that time that I did not remember. But years forward, I'm like, okay, I see it now. You know, it was just a different conversation, but I just had to share that. I had to share that.
I love that you shared that, because that, you know, that was very similar to how my journey went. I think that the first time that I had caught, like, because I was also, I grew up in Christianity. I thought reading cards or divination, all that type of jazz was witchcraft. So I demonized it, you know, and so when it came to that point in my journey to where I got very curious. I was always curious about the unknown. When you're mentioning the Scorpio placement, so I have a Venus in Scorpio placement. So just
I know.
Yes, yes, ma'am. And so I feel like I was led in subtle ways. And like you said, it's just like, it's not something like, oh, I'm going to do that. It's just like an inner knowing. Yes. And like for me, I got a picture of myself reading cards or doing this or whatever the case may be. At the time, I was like, yeah, right. And so later on, I just kept getting put in people's lives who were doing this kind of work. Or I'd connect with people who would bring these experiences to me. And I was very intrigued or I was very interested. And I'm like, and it would just like do something to my spirit, like, oh man, that's crazy, So when Spirit was pushing me to get my first deck, I was scared.
Oh, girl, don't get me started on my first time. We could talk about it, but go ahead.
I was like, oh man, you know what people are gonna think about me, my family, but it was like, so I told myself, because at that time I was into Bantu spirituality, and I had first created my logo, which was of the Bakongo cosmogram, the Dia de Kinga, I believe, and so I had a reading done from my sis, and she's like, you have this gift. I don't know why you don't get yourself some cards. And that's when I was like, okay, this is the third time I heard this at this point in my journey. Let me just go get one. So I instantly went on Amazon. I'm looking for cards. And I'm like, okay, tarot doesn't really resonate with me. I'm going to find some oracle cards. I couldn't find any. So I was like, you know what? If this is meant to be, I want some cards that look like my logo. And that's how I know it's meant to be. And that night at midnight, I found a set of cards. Matter of fact, they're around here somewhere, but it was they were the Bakongo cosmogram, and I was blown away. And I was like, oh, oh, you're lying to me, But that's how the journey goes like that. And sometimes you're not ready for what you like. You know what I'm saying? You have your life planned in a whole different kind of way, and then it takes you on a journey to that you're like, oh man, this is kind of so. But there's always those subtle clues, those intuitive nudges that lead you, and you look back when you finally get to a certain place in your journey and like, oh, I see.
Yeah, it's that's the point of the ignorance, like in the moment of the journey when you're being an initiate, it's like I don't know what's happening, but I'm embracing the unknown, right?
Yeah, yes.
And still, even for me with my introduction to oracle, right? My first introduction was my grandmother. My grandmother was an oracle. My grandmother used to, do readings for so many people, and I've later now like met some of the people that she's read, in certain spiritual classes or just through connections, mutual connections and stuff like that, and they'd be like, Nancy Johnson is your grandmother? And they'd be like, it makes sense. You are your grandmother's granddaughter, but I didn't grow up with my grandmother, so I didn't have the opportunity to learn and be taught, by her physically. But in her transitioning, so many things sparked, like my grandmother transitioned, my father took me, then I was taken from my father, like all of that stuff. It was like boom, 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 boom. Like I got the timeline down pat. Wow. But forward 2015, this is the year I started my locks. So it was like 9 years ago. 2015 February was when I got my first reading. And when I got my first reading, and that lady was telling me stuff, and I was like, ain't no way. Like she's telling me the dreams I had, the colors I've been seeing, all this stuff. She's just telling me. I was like, I need another reading. Same day, I hit up one of my brothers, Ross Lazarus, and I was like, I need a reading. Like, I didn't even tell him I had just had a reading or nothing. I was like, hey, I need a reading. So we met up at the park. he had the cards out and everything, and we sitting down, and I'm serious, like, because it's like, he told me this stuff, like, I'm telling you, I was so serious. I was not curious, I was serious. And so then he had the nerve to tell me, you're gonna do your own reading. I was like, I ain't no reader. He said, you're gonna do your own reading. I said, I ain't no reader. I don't know how to do that. I can't. He said, yes, you can. He said, you're gonna do it. And he walked me through it, and he made me read myself, right? So the same day that I started reading is the same day that I got my first reading, right?
Wow.
See how fast that happened, right?
Yes.
Then boom, he gives me my first deck.
Wow.
An Egyptian, like Kemetic Egyptian deck, the all-seeing eye with the, with the deities, with my aunt, my aunts up here, got, all of the Egyptian Kemetic deities. And so I just took it with me, but I ain't use them. And I just set them on the table. I said, I ain't gonna put them up nowhere. I'm gonna just sit them on the table. And every day I would just walk past them. Like, it's funny, right? I'm so serious though. I would look at them and keep it moving. Then one day it was like I got called to them. And I said, well, let me see. And I'm like, ooh, that's on point. Okay. Yeah. And then, like, at this time, I had a good bit of, sisters I was working with. So I was like, well, let me see what come up for you. And they be like, at that time, I went by Shy, which is my birth name, Cheyanne. They be like, Shy, that's crazy. I be like, it is, ain't it? So that's how I got initiated. Like, but them cards sat on that table for about a month and a half. I did not touch them. So you know how, like, everybody now, like, running to get some tarot cards. Like, I'm like, I didn't want to.
Yeah, no, that part.
I was going in another direction, But what the cards did for me was bring me to the oracle that I am. You know what I mean? So I don't depend. I don't have a dependency on anything outside of me. That's the whole point. Get to a place where you're not depending on a tool outside of you because you are the tool. And so for me, I realized that I am. I realized that I am. And now I'll tell you this, I battle with that too. Yes. I battle even when people used to call me goddess. I'd be like, don't call me that. Don't put me with God. Don't do that. I thought it was disrespectful. Don't call me goddess. But I realize now what that means. So I'm like, okay, I get you. I understand what y'all was saying. Y'all was just reminding me of who I am, but I wasn't ready to accept that then. And then when I went to New Orleans, a whole nother level of initiation happened when I was spiritually introduced to Marie Laveau herself. And when I went to New Orleans, she was who called me to New Orleans. She was the one that was initiating me and reminding me of who I am. And that was a lot for me to take in. So I'm like, you know what? It don't even matter. I don't care what nobody think about me. Call me what you want. Call me voodoo priestess. Say whatever y'all want to say. At that point, when I went to New Orleans, it was life-changing for me. There was a part of me that was no more, and there was a part of me that was born, or activated, right? And so from that moment, it's been on. And that was 10 years ago. So when we talk about full circle, let me just show y'all something. Let me show y'all something. When we talk about full circle from 27 to 37, and one of my gifts, which I only received the first Marie Laveau gift or New Orleans gift oracle deck, that was 10 years ago when I was 27. I went to New Orleans for the first time for my initiation into priesthood. One of my sisters sent me this. Let me see if I can fit it in there. And
oh, yes.
There's Marie Laveau and the Seven Sisters, right?
Yes.
Now, when we went to the museum in New Orleans, and there was a picture that was there, and it was like, that looked like you, Shy. We took the Marie Laveau tour, and the story that they told, they said, they sound like you, Shy. She was a hairstylist, beautician. She worked from her home. People come in. She, like, so much about the story was a mirror to my story, even at that time. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, her story repeats itself. Not history, but her story repeats itself.
Yes.
And then just last year, through some DNA, you know, like we do the ancestry stuff, I have traces back to Louisiana. So somewhere in my bloodline, Louisiana is up in that thing too. So, you know, it's just been so many connected moments that even at this point in my journey, there is absolutely nothing for me to doubt. Nothing.
Yes.
Like my life and in the journey of my awareness and coming back into the knowing of who I am, there is nothing left for me to question. There's nothing left for me to question. My life has been so evident. It's been so evident. It's been so miraculous. It's been everything that I have to know for myself to experience it.
Yeah.
Like I can explain it and tell it to somebody else, and they be like, girl, you tripping, you crazy. And that's fine. I'm crazy and I'm tripping to you. But what you don't know is that it's real. And so me, I get to experience the real. I also get to expose the real, and I get to share it to those that are ready to experience it for themselves. And that's why it's always the conversation like, I never felt this before. I didn't know that this could exist. I didn't know that this could happen. I never looked at it like that. I never thought about it like that. Like all of these things, like it's immediately shifted for life, for the better. You know what I mean? So I just had to share. I had to thank you. Who had sent me this? Zania. Thank you, Zania. Thank you, Zania, so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And also want to say thank you to Tasha for my Pandora gift too, because I know y'all be on here looking, but thank you. So I just had to share that because the initiations are real. And so when people are talking about initiations, and I'm like, y'all might need a physical person, but I'm initiated in the spirit. Y'all might need that. I don't need that. But if I decided that I wanted a elder to guide me, I have elders that I can trust, that I can communicate with. And let me tell you, they don't feel like I need anything, you know? And the other part is, it's like, I have priests who are initiated. I have priestesses who are initiated. And guess who they get a lot of their stuff from? I have pastors. I have ministers. I have lawyers. I have doctors. I have all, none of that stuff means nothing to me. You know what I mean? And so it's like, that's why you have to know who you are and be, you know what I mean? And know in yourself who you are, that you don't need to depend on anything. I don't need a tool. I don't need something to validate my I am. Like, even when I'm naked, I am. Like, nobody can take that away from me because nobody gave that to me. And so this is the place that we have to get back to in ourselves, where it's like, this is who I am and I know who I am. Nobody can take this from me. No one can make me question this. I have arrived to who I am. That doesn't mean that I still don't have work to do. Of course, I'm still here. I have work to do, but for right now, we good. We good. You know,
I totally understand. I completely agree. I know for me, I had to, I was never really heavy on the getting readings. Like, I don't really get readings like that. I'm sparingly with the whole getting readings or even giving myself readings. Because of that, I didn't want that kind of dependency. And I think that right now we have a lot of people who just depend every 2 seconds. It's like, I got to get a reading. And it's like, it's too much. What's happening in here? Your intuition should be telling you don't need nothing. Like, you literally don't need nothing but you. That's it. That's all you need. And we have to drill that more into this generation. Right now, it's a lot of, especially in that twin flame, Lord. But that's just a whole other thing.
I'm gonna burn the whole house down. Ask me how I know. Oh Lord, I got caught up in that narrative once, and that's all it took for me was one time. And listen, I'm my own twin flame. I'm my own flame. I'm my own flame. I don't need nobody else to come and shadow work me to death. I got that.
And that's a whole nother, because the romanticizing of that journey is another thing.
It's the illusion of it all. It's the illusion of it all.
It is. I just wanted to hit up, somebody had put an important question. I think they were looking for advice, and I didn't want to ignore this brother, but he says, I'm guessing, what does he do when he finds himself in a space with no one to talk to, no friends, brothers, nothing, and the woman in his life is unsupportive and as well as emasculating at times? So I didn't want to leave that.
Is the woman your wife, or is she just the woman that you've chose to be with? Because if she's in your life and you can't talk to her and you can't be supported by her and she emasculates you, then that is a clear indication that that is not your woman. That is your enemy. And what part of you is still there allowing that and is still choosing that? What parts of you needs healing so that you can release it? You know what I mean? That clearly says that you're not safe. You know, you're not safe and you deserve safety. So if you cannot communicate with her and it's not safe for you and she's not, you know, willing to talk to you, hear you out, and she emasculates you and she doesn't support you, then that is not your woman. That is a bully. Not a woman. That's a hurt woman.
She is now my ex-spouse. Okay.
Huh?
She said she is now my ex-spouse.
Okay, well then why are we talking about her?
I don't know.
You need to release it. You need to release it.
Yeah.
You know, and release it with love. 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 And you know, on the next level of it, understand that there are things, again, as we can say for anyone, for her to be operating in that space within herself, she has some things that are unresolved. You know what I mean? So if she's not even willing to be safe for herself, then that immediately lets you know that she's not going to be a safe space for you. And so you just have to accept what it is and what it isn't. You have to accept what it is and what it isn't. But again, you deserve to be safe at all times. You deserve to be safe at all times with whomever it is that you are in a connection with. You know, you deserve to be safe. Just like the same safety that you will provide to them should be reciprocated to you as well. You deserve that. You definitely deserve that.
Absolutely.
I also want to just add on, you know, because I am a true believer of this, that we attract what we are. We get what we are. So if there's a part of her, if she's exhibiting that, see where within yourself that you felt, because you felt you deserved that at some point, right? And make sure that that's not something that you're in alignment with. You're not in alignment with anything that's going to emasculate you. Make sure that you're what you're in alignment with. So that's what I would say, because you were in alignment with this woman. That's how you guys end up. You can't be with somebody if you're not in alignment with them. That's
you sure?
Nope, it's not possible.
Sometimes we're with people that we're not aligned with all the time. You know, we can definitely choose that. And, you know, we do hear a lot, you know, you attract what you are, But I know we can attract anything. We can attract everything. You know what I mean? Anything can, you know, like I may have ordered something, right? And of course I ordered it from Amazon. So I expect Amazon to come to my door because that's what I ordered. But who these other people that's popping up soliciting? I ain't asked for you. I ain't asked for you. You know,
in alignment of consumerism. That's the thing. You have to be in alignment of the thing. That's how the universe. Where there are laws to this universe that are just
things are a lesson. Some things are a lesson, and some things are in our lives again to test us with what it is that we're going to choose. You know what I mean? Like that's really what it's about. Like, is this what you want to choose? Is this what you want to create? Is this what you want to experience? And that's why I said, like, what is inside of you, you know, that did, you know, have this experience? Like, what part of you was not resolved in order to even have this in your life? So that is also, you know, another thing. But a lot of times that comes from, you know, sometimes there's mother wounds, you know, that makes a man choose the wrong woman.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And even if he was to have the right woman, he still wouldn't know what to do because he still has the mother wound. So he won't be equipped to love the right woman because he's still hurting, and he's probably going to hurt that right woman. So the point is to see what you need to heal within yourself so that you can elevate yourself, so that you can be healthy for yourself, and then in turn be healthy for someone else. Like, that's what it's really all about.
Yes,
Absolutely. You know, we have to, you know, search ourselves, study ourselves, and even in these connections that we find ourselves in, you know, if we can learn the lesson and we can use these experiences with these connections as a mirror effect, you know, when you are triggered and when you are feeling like when, because this is the thing when it comes to that, is that it's not that you attract what you are, you attract what's going to, how do I say it, like expose your wounds. Or you're either gonna, whether you are more tapped into your darker side of yourself, or you're tapped into your lighter side of yourself, or whatever you want to call it, you're going to attract what's going to magnify those things.
And it may be a version. It may be a version.
It might not be entirely, but just those things. But that's how spirit works as well. We have to have, there's certain connections that we have to have that are possible, that are toxic anyways, in order for us to evolve past those things. Because even within connections, those are also initiations.
Yes, it's I say everything is an initiation.
Everything is an initiation. but for real, you won't know. You won't know all the things that you have stored within you without having another person mirror that back to you. So it's more of a thing to where we have to be aware enough to understand what's happening.
Identify, yeah.
Exactly.
And that awareness is the whole point, and we have to choose that. We have to choose, like I talked about earlier. We have to choose to pay attention. We have to choose to like slow down so we can be present enough to see things as they are, not just how we want them to be. Because sometimes we get caught up on what we want it to be, and so then that's all we look for. We don't look at what's happening. We look for what we want, and that's not the case. So, and then we get caught up on that.
So
that's how folks got locked into some relationships for all of their life. Well, I just, and that's fine. You can choose that. You can choose that.
But it's at the end of the day, it's all a choice. And again, those whatever. Again, whether you're operating more in a high vibrational, more on a higher vibration, you're going to attract people who are going to magnify that. If you're operating at a lower vibration, you're going to attract people who are going to magnify that. You know what I'm saying?
You're going to attract it all. It's a matter of what you accept. What do you accept?
Exactly. But it's going to be more easy. It's going to be an easier flow depending on which vibration. So if you're on a lower vibration, there's an easier flow of negative, those types of lower vibrational connections heading your way. You know what I'm saying? If you're operating in a higher vibration, or however you want to call it, or operating more in divinity, you're going to
instead of vibration, instead of higher or lower vibration, and this is just something that's coming up in my spirit. Let's just speak to intentional and unintentional.
Intentional and unintentional. Aware and unaware, not because I was thinking about that. I was like, I gotta come up with something.
That was what was screaming out. Like either it's intentional or it's unintentional. You know what I mean? And so it's like when you see someone, you can immediately identify: are they intentional with themselves?
Yeah, because that's all spirituality really is about awareness. And when you're aware, you become more intentional about on your space, who you need to deal with, where you go, where you know what I'm saying?
That's the magic in the creation. Like that's like the intention is also equivalent to alchemy. When you're being intentional, like that's like, oh,
what am I going to create today?
Yes. Or what am I going to destroy today? Like, because sometimes it's not always creation. Sometimes we got to destroy some things too. So, and we have to be okay with the fact that sometimes it's both. Like, I know a lot of times we unrealistically like to just be on the create side, but it's like to create space, you have to destroy it also.
Absolutely. Agree. Balance.
Definitely. We had some follow-up questions from that same gentleman. I don't know if you want to continue, Kamilah, but he says, what if it's about unhealed trauma within that woman? I can't fix that. Well, no, you only responsible for yourself, bro. That's just my 1 2 cents, but you are responsible for you.
Yeah, you're right. You can't change it. You can't.
All you can do is you can co-sign, sir. You can. What are you willing to co-sign? Are you willing to co-sign on being in communion with someone who you yourself have said is unsupportive and emasculate? Are you co-signing with the experience of being around someone who is unsupportive of you? Are you willing to co-sign having the experience of being around and being in communion with someone who you said emasc, and if you are, then accept whatever consequences of you co-signing that to be. We can't be blaming everybody else for the choice. You have a choice. That's the thing that is so.
What I'm hearing is enabling.
Yeah.
Enabling. Yeah, enabling, because when we enable certain behaviors in people that are not healthy, then we're, like you said, co-signing and saying like, it's okay. You know, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And so therefore now you are also just as unhealthy because you are enabling, you know. So I just wanted to full circle that, Gia, to what you were saying, like that's enabling. That's enabling. And
then you're slowing the other person's progress down as well. Because the only way
and that's not love. That's not love. Like love gonna keep it real. Love gonna say, baby girl, you that you ain't right. That ain't right. That, you know, like you gotta keep it real. Like love gonna keep it real. Love is gonna keep it real.
What's her name? I think it was India Irie, and she said she was. I think it's was it The Truth? I think The Truth, that song, and she was talking about, or she said that there is no substitute for the truth. It either is or it isn't.
It isn't.
If you love someone, love is truth. Love is true. You know what I'm saying? And when we're in these environments where we have to hold someone accountable, holding someone accountable and showing themselves and seeing how they're destroying themselves, that's love.
That's love.
We have to get to the point to where we really get aware enough, even for myself. Recently, I'm starting like tapping more into my emotional body and becoming connected more with my emotions on a deeper level, and looking at things as a ways like, do I like the way that this makes me feel?
Hallelujah. Yeah.
If I know I don't like the way that this makes me feel, why do I keep doing this to myself?
Exactly.
Why do I keep putting myself here? Why do I keep tolerating this stuff?
Yeah.
Because at this point, I'm not even choosing me anymore.
Yeah.
So I've lost myself.
Legit.
And this is where we got to get real with ourselves and love ourselves enough to tell ourselves the truth about the matter for the situation.
So he said he never cheated in 4 years. And you know what I heard, Luscious? But you cheated yourself. So you did. You didn't cheat on her, but you cheated yourself. And so therefore you did cheat on you.
Yeah.
You did.
Yes.
By not honoring yourself. You cheated yourself.
Absolutely. And that's
like a lot of times, and people like to throw that out like, well, I didn't cheat, but there was other things that you did or did not do that contributes to the experience as well. Like, you know, like cheating is not the only thing, you know. Like you can be a loyal partner as far as not, you know, stepping out in a relationship, but you could be wrong in a whole lot of other ways.
Any connection that will take away or that puts you in a position to take away your own loyalty for self continuously is not a connection for you. Because any connection that's like, you know, you want to be in connections that are going to help you evolve. That's going to help make you want to pour back into yourself. Those are the type of connections that you know are for you, that just make you want to be a better person, make you want to go harder, make you want to heal and love yourself deeply. You know what I'm saying? Those are the kind of connections that we have to reprogram our mind to get used to, because we think,
but we won't know that until we give it to ourselves. We won't know that, you know. And so I'm glad you brought that in, like, but you won't know it until you give it to yourself. Absolutely. You won't know. You won't be able to identify it until you can identify it within yourself. You won't know. You know, when you know for yourself, everything becomes visible.
Game over.
You're able to see the whole room, you know, like, and ain't got to say a word, because I know that I know for myself.
I know that I know. Hallelujah. I love that space.
And I ain't got to say a word. I could be over here in this corner super quiet, and I done read the whole room, and I don't have nothing to say because I ain't got nothing to prove. You know what I mean? Like, it's for me.
Yeah, in the moment that absolutely, in the moment that you become aware and you know your worth and you're aware of these things, the easier it is to weed out people who are not on that same frequency within themselves. To know self is to know you. we all are one. We're all connected. And the more you dive deeper within yourself, the more you can see a shadow in the other person because you know the shadows within yourself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all about stuff.
It's all about,
you can't blame nobody.
Yeah, it's all about the level that you are at with yourself will determine the level that you can experience with others. Just like they say, you can't, no one can love you, beyond where they love themselves, and here we are so many times expecting more of someone and with someone, and they're not even there yet in themselves, so we have to be, and we be mad, dead wrong, mad at these people. And it's like, have you even taken a look at where they're at in their own experience with themselves?
Yes, it's almost like
it's very selfish to want something more from people than what they have the capacity to give you, when you can clearly see that they're not even there yet.
It's sabotage.
It really is.
It's sabotage. You will only receive the quality of love that you like, relationship wise, because spirit will put people on your path to reflect to you divine love and what it is, I'm saying, eventually along your journey. But I feel like, the quality of love that you give to yourself will also reflect the quality of love you receive within your relationships. Yeah. You feel me? So the more that you give love to yourself, the more that you demand that same love in return. And your energy speaks for itself. So certain people that are not loving themselves,
and you can demand it without demanding it. Like, it's like energetically, it does it for you. You know what I mean?
People are gonna repel. People are gonna, because they're gonna look at you like, oh, that person loves themselves too much. Subconsciously, I can't fuck around with the fuck around because I know that this person is gonna put me in check. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, and this is at a subconscious level, people, or an energetic level that we don't even understand. Your love for self is literally your protection. That's your bulletproof vest.
Say that again.
Your self-love is your protection.
Come on. And people get down on their knees every day and they be like, I'm praying for myself, and you don't even love yourself. You're praying against yourself by not loving yourself. So that's why I needed to be said again. Your love for yourself and to yourself is your protection.
Yes.
And that's why, even with my sisters, what we say is our awareness is our protection. And so, yes, I share to the love that I have with and for myself is also my protection. You can't come up over here all kind of ways because I love you.
Yeah.
You can't touch me. You can't do certain things to me that you may think that you can, because I actually love myself. You're not gonna turn me against myself. Well, we got a good relationship over here.
Yeah, and then it's the audacity that you even tried.
Look, it's fine. It's fine. They can try.
Let them try.
That's a test for us. They supposed to try, because then we can be the reminder. And in being the reminder, we remind ourselves like, nah, this is where it's at. So
yes, you're absolutely right. We do, and that's just, and I think I've gotten to a point in my journey to where we, like you said, but I'm like literally experiencing it to where I realize for myself how, the universe works. It'll throw things back in, your life, or these tests and stuff like that to see where you're at, but also to strengthen those areas of your life. Because sometimes we get so comfortable that we kind of like we get lackadaisical or complacent, and we forget the enemy can slip in spaces when we get that way. So it's just like, or lower vibrational energies, whatever, but it's just like we just the universe will place those things back into our reality to strengthen that area, or to remind us as well, and to remind us.
Yes.
So, I agree.
Yes,
definitely. Brother Luscious.
Yes, I'm looking at him too.
Brother Luscious said he gonna get this healing tonight, baby. He gonna get this healing tonight, okay?
Lord, listen,
love yourself completely. He put that on all caps. Are you sure that you do? Give Gold's love. Are you sure? Are you giving Gold's love to yourself? Are you giving Gold's love to yourself? Can someone still fool you with their energy if you let them fool you? They can fool you if you let them. If you allow that, they can fool you, but with your permission and with your permission only. You have to give them permission to fool you.
This is the thing, is that society made us so lazy when it comes to our own awareness, that we just want to relax. We don't want to think too hard. We don't want to do anything too hard. We don't want to be like, you know what I'm saying? Like we want to just chill and just allow things to come, but that's just not the way life works. No. You get what you put out.
Come on, because I was gonna say you experience what you create.
Exactly.
It's your creation. It's your creation, and it don't have to be like that. You can start a whole new life right now.
Life is not just happening to you, brother. Like life is not happening to you. Okay, you need to happen to life. It can't just be you sit back and you just take what you know. You make choices. You decide what is okay, what is not okay, what you co-sign it, what you gonna experience. If something or someone tries you, you go, not today, ma'am.
Yeah.
And keep it moving. That's it. That's all it is. Yeah. Now you telling me that this is now no longer the person that's you're no longer together. We don't need to be discussing this first. You need to release and let go. This is what you need to focus on. You don't need to focus on what happened, why did it right. Release and let go. What do you need in order to get that release? Go inside. What do you need? You didn't get acceptance. Find that acceptance for yourself. You didn't get validation. Find that validation for yourself. You didn't get uplifted, support your dang on self. You need to do it for you first.
Do it for
you. If you learn the lesson, the experience is not a thing.
Right.
But you're right. And if you learn those lessons and you use these, you alchemize this energy instead of staying in the victim mentality to where we're like, well, this person did this and that person did that. They did this to me and this, that, and the third, and take your power back and be like, you know what? I allowed you to do this. You know what I'm saying? I gave you. You're taking your power back, right? But then on a different level is that as long as you learn the lesson in it all, you allow this experience to help you transform in whichever way, shape, or form. The experience was not in vain. You had a level up. So we have to look at life that way. That, like you said, nothing is happening to us but for us. Sometimes we gotta bump our head a little bit because we refuse to take the L, the lesson.
Yes,
I'm about to.
I know.
I'm kidding. I'm gonna love you. I'm grateful that you bringing a little comedy in here for us because we want to respond.
But I keep attracting bums. Listen, sir.
Now see, first of all,
you can't be calling people no bums.
If you calling people bums, then it says a lot about who you are in yourself. Okay. Now that is disrespectful.
Yeah.
To refer to anyone as a bum. That's disrespectful. And so that go to show that you definitely have some work to do. You definitely got some work to do. And we can do a virtual one-on-one. Don't be sorry, because ain't nothing sorry about you. But what you're going to have to do is be accountable. And what you're going to have to do also is be respectful, because any disrespect to someone else is a disrespect to yourself. And that is exactly why you have been having the experiences that you're having, because you need a whole new shift. You need a whole new language, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it's time for you. But the question is, are you ready for something? Or do you want to continue to live in the past? Do you want to live in the present, or do you want to live in the past? Do you want to live life fruitfully? Do you want to live life happily with yourself? Or are you going to continue to keep looking at these past experiences, or keep looking at the old parts of yourself that created these narratives? You're going to continue to live there. So you have a decision to make.
Yeah.
And being here and you asking all these questions, listen, the message requires instructions as well. So that means you have something to do.
Yes.
You have something to apply. So don't just ask these questions and get these answers and you're not willing to do the work required for you, for yourself.
Yes.
For yourself, because you deserve to experience another level of life through yourself. You do deserve that, but are you ready? And are you willing to do what is required of you for yourself? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because it kind of seemed like you dancing in a shadow place.
Yeah, in
shadow place.
And it takes time too. We just have to kind of take it day by day. It's when we're talking about healing and evolving and this and that, it happens in fragments. And we just have to look at it like, as a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle. about. You know, like we were talking about earlier, a lot of us who are on this path and have made it to this point in our journey to where we're giving back and helping other people evolve in the ways that, you know, or, you know, saying whatever, just helping people evolve. We went through these phases too. We went through the mud, we went through the darkness, we went through the victim mentality and things and this, that, and the third. It's not a hop, skip, and a jump. And you really got to ask yourself, is that where do you want to be? And if you have a specific place that you see yourself and you want to get there, you have to understand that you got to put in the work for it. There's the only way out is through. So you can't, even if you get the answers, there's still something to be done.
Yes.
Period.
You know what I'm saying? Because the knowledge of it is only a portion of that.
Yes, the transformation is going to happen through the work. The work being applied and the work being done. That's the only way the transformation and the change is going to happen is through the work. Woo.
Indeed.
Period.
Indeed.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
I pray that, you know, any brothers who are listening, I pray that you guys consider, you know, coming to this sacred duality space that our sister Kamilah has put together. It's April 20th, 5:55 p.m. It's going to be at Sankover House, Savannah. You can go to her website, www.sankovahousesavannah.com. You can check the comments. Her link is there. Her pages, all her socials is there. Come check it out. Come check it out. Come check it out. You know what I mean? That's a safe space for you all, because we can't answer everything tonight. I wish that we could. And we're running close to, you know, we're you know, come. Check her out. Okay? Check her out.
You brought that in so good, because I was like, dang, I can't comment over here. I was about to say, go to the website. You know, Brother Shabazz, just book you a one-on-one virtual, and let's get to the work. Let's get to the healing. Let's get to it. Let's just go straight in with it. Let's just go straight in with it.
We love you. We're sending you loving energy, Brother Shabazz. Loving energy, loving energy.
It ain't over for you yet.
That's true. Hallelujah.
It's just the beginning.
Speaking out of line, I've learned a lot. Thank you, ladies, but no problem. We love you.
You just, if you didn't get out of line, then you wouldn't know. You wouldn't have been reminded of how to be in line. So it's all divine. It's all divine. It is all divine. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kamilah, for being with us tonight. I thank you so much. I definitely enjoyed this conversation, and you know, from the other meeting we had, I just knew, I'm like, oh, you know, so I am so grateful for tonight and being able to just sit down and chop it up with you and just really talk and express. And I love it. I pray that you come back. There is an open invitation. Hallelujah. And like I said before, all of her, I need to stop saying that word, but anyway, all of her links is in the descriptions. So please, if you're not following, go follow her on Facebook, go follow her on Instagram. I'm not sure if it's other places, but all the links is there. And as well, check out her website for her upcoming event. She has 3 of them, the Sacred Duality. We have Embracing the Flow, which is every Tuesdays, as well as her Sunday services once a month, every month. So check her stuff out. Again, I just thank you. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Like, thank y'all. That's really it. Like, you know, grateful to be here, grateful to do this, grateful to have this conversation, grateful to share this medicine, you know, this love, these reminders. You know, it's just always an honor, always a divine privilege. Always. And y'all be mindful, there are a lot of fake pages, so don't scam. So that was my only addition to what Sister Gia just said and shared.
Yeah, I hate those. Yeah. But only follow the ones we put on those are right. Follow those, you know, follow those pages. We thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate your energy and just honor your presence, because truly it's like, you know, I told you before, you know, you find very few people who actually embody that divine essence, you know, and it's just an honor to be able to share space with you and just, you know, hear your wisdom and what you've been through and how you've overcome, you know, the obstacles that were placed in your journey. You know, all those obstacles only make you stronger. So, you know, it's divinely placed. Opportunities. And so again, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have not, go ahead and subscribe to Kozmic Konnectionz on YouTube. Check out her socials and all that in the link in our bio. Yeah, y'all, this was a double conversation.
Thank you to everybody that tuned in. Thank you for keeping the chat live and flowing the whole time.
Definitely. And
We
if
love
you hit the notification bell, people. Hit the notification bells for all the pages.
Yes, please follow and subscribe to everybody, okay?
Yes, all of us. Thank you.
Love to everybody and sweet rest to everybody.
Yes, yes, yes.
Hello.
Did you end the live, Lord? It looked like it's still going.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm just smiling.
I don't know if it's still going. Oh, let me see.
It is.
You put me back